Well, hey, welcome to the show before the show, where I check to make sure everything is working. I'm your host, Patrick Marlett, your local game guy with local game co-host Will.
Sup?
Hey, Will, how you doing?
Doing well, doing well. Had a little bit of a hectic day, but I'm here now.
Oh, good. Glad to see you're here. Uh, Feel free. You know, it's interesting. I'm not seeing anything come up in this chat on screen. Maybe there's something with that. We'll figure that out later, though. But yeah, I'm excited for this set. I'm excited to talk about this set. There's a lot of cards I want to get from this set. I don't think there's any new artifacts for Oswald, but generally with set reviews, we try to talk about
Oh,
things that are useful for every deck. What were you gonna say, Will?
there is one useful artifact for Oswald.
We'll talk about that in a few. So,
We probably won't. It's a legendary creature.
oh, never mind. We'll reserve that for tomorrow. So, guys, if you don't know about the new set, it's called Duskmourn, House of Horror. We're going to be covering the set in total. That is the main set as well as the commander offshoot. Any new cards that came from that. Those commander box sets usually have a few reprints, but there are some new cards in there. Some we might discuss now. But after the review, hang tight for a legendary tier list tomorrow. So if you're interested in playing any of the legendaries from the set, we're going to be talking about them then. But Will, what were you going to say?
I was going to say we can bring up the legendary artifact creature when we pass by it for the review, just because it's probably like it's worth bringing up for the 99 because it's actually a really useful 99 card.
Okay, I like that. Yeah, I think the chat box is dead. We'll figure it out later. I think we can jump right into this one though. There's a lot of cards to cover for this set and so little time. Well, I have my scotch, so I think I'm good. Will, do you want me to lead the way on this one? Actually, we have never solidified the true way to cover these set reviews. I'll go first and then I'll let you fill in the blanks.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
We're going to start with white. We're going through this in Wooburg order, so obviously white, blue, black, red, green, multicolor, any sort of colorless or artifact, and lands at the end of the video. And at any point, if we happen to be covering a color you want to discuss in more depth, if there's a card we missed, feel free to stop us and we'll take a few seconds while we're in that color to cover it. But the first thing I want to talk about is this card. You know what? I'm gonna click on it because I don't want to tilt my head. It's called. I'm
It's
gonna. Huh?
this card.
Right. I want to cover. So I only wrote down prop room because it's the more interesting
Yeah.
room on the card. But I should mention we got a few new keywords technically. Survival, eerie, room as a subtype, and there's one more. At least one more. Well, we'll see. We'll see it
Oh,
if we see it.
it's the weird suspend thing.
Right. I forget the name. There's a lot of cards with delirium in the set, and that's
The
old.
impending. I didn't
Impending.
even need to look up a card. I just remembered that it's impending.
Okay. So the first card I want to cover is actually great for us to discuss because it is a new subtype in the game. Rooms are unique in that when you cast them, it's almost like a fused spell or something. There are two options on the card, except these are permanents. I don't think there was ever a permanent split card. Don't quote me. But this is an instance of that. When you cast it, you actually unlock the end of the room you want to open into. So if the card says when this unlocks, it counts doing the cast, right? And then it being in play. But you can unlock it again once it's on the battlefield at sorcery speed by paying the mana cost of the other side. So if we wanted to go into the Dazzling Theater, we could. It's the prop room I'm interested in. Add 2 generic and a white. Untap each creature you control during each other player's untap step. It's only 3 mana and mana cryptable to drop this into play. This is really good if you are looking to use effects like Seedborn Muse. Usually that's a list that has a payoff in the command zone, and a lot of things that tap for mana, namely creatures. So Thrasios is sort of like the main suspect here, although I don't know if the main builds with him right now use white, although you could do Tymna Thrasios just fine and you would have white. So I like Prop Room a lot. I don't have any decks that necessarily care about this, but it's another one of those having the effectiveness of your creatures at large. In a 4-person game, having this ability on this 3 CMC enchantment is amazing. It's also really tutorable in white. I should talk about the other end of the room, though. It's 3 and a white for the Dazzling Theater. Creature spells you cast have Convoke. That's less important for me, but
Sometimes that's ramp. Pay 4, tap 6 creatures, do the thing.
right, and obviously it works hand in hand with the other end, but it's only relevant if your creatures have flash. So it's cute. I think that Prop Room is great, though. Seedborn Muse is 4 mana.
5. Seaborn Muse is 5, but Seaborn Muse untaps everything, whereas Prop Room only hits your creatures.
Mhm.
It is Drum Bellower, but it has an additional thing stapled onto it, and it's an enchantment instead of a creature.
Okay.
It's good. I noted the card as well. It's a good card.
Yeah, I think it has a little bit more evasion than, say, a creature, though, which
I
is quite
also
nice.
do have to say, Thrasios Livio got another tool.
Oh, there you go. Speaking of tools, let's look at this little sheep glimmer. No, I'm just kidding. This is such a sweet, innocent little ghosty. Well, I assume that's what glimmers are. Enduring Innocence. This is not. I've only listed 2 innocents. The next one we'll discuss is just better. I should say enduring cards, not innocence. It's a generic and double white for an enchantment creature, Sheep Glimmer. This is really useful for your Enchantress style decks if you want another enchantment body, because it has lifelink to 1 body. Whenever one or more other creatures you control with power 2 or less enter, draw a card. This ability triggers only once per turn. This is just more draw effectively in white. We always talk about wanting it. Well, here's an option. It does rely on there being weenies hitting the battlefield, but it's not the end of the world. Once per turn is also not the end of the world. We've seen that Esper Sentinel does quite a lot of work, but it's not rotating around our own effects. Regardless, whenever Enduring Innocence dies, if it was a creature, return it to the battlefield under its owner's control. It's an enchantment. So it has lasting power, right? This kind of effect. It is quite good. You can obviously flicker this, I suppose, and make it a creature again, because that's what it is. Yeah. So you can keep the train rolling. I don't know how many flicker effects there are for enchantments and or just non-land permanents or permanents in general, but it's not a bad card. I like it. I think it's notable. I don't know how many lists are actually going to want to use it outside of an Enchantress list that's going hard on draw, but there is a better card from this set for Enchantress decks. Thoughts on Enduring Innocence?
It can draw a few cards. I don't like the fact that it's 3 mana to draw like a card per turn if you have the right things. So I'm not the biggest fan of it, but it could be played in some decks that need a little bit more draw but don't have a good draw mechanism.
Well, the fact is, like, it's just other creatures. So if your deck is producing tokens, this is that, right? So this is going to get you your once per turn draw a card. It'll also work off turn. So if you have a way to generate those tokens, soldiers, vampires, whatever.
You know what immediately plays this card? Haikar.
There you go.
There you go.
There you go. Well, Jeskai, right? Yeah, you make little spirits. Great.
And at instant speed. So you get 4 per rotation if you're actually playing.
Right. I do think there's a good include for Kaikar. Next card I want to talk about is Exercise. So, yes, it is sorcery speed, but it's a generic and a white. I have Exercise the Demons. Exile target artifact, enchantment, or creature with power 4 or greater. Why is this relevant? Really just 1 card. The 1 ring. It will hit other things too, but that's kind of the big one for me. There is another card called Fragmentize that's 1 white at sorcery speed that destroys an artifact or enchantment of 3.
Four. It's a four
Four
because
greater?
sorcery. Yeah,
Yeah,
sorry, no, it's a four or less.
four or less. But yeah, that wouldn't obviously work. But that's the nearest one-to-one that came to mind when I saw this card, Fragmentize. Destroy target artifact or enchantment, convert a mana cost four or less. So, one, obviously better than two when you're trying to manage your mana, but I do think Exercise has a spot in some maybe mono or dual colored list if you're just looking for a way to get rid of pesky objects, Exile being one of the best methods. This isn't going to be great in larger multicolored lists, but it's another weapon to add to the arsenal.
Yeah, I mean, just exiling any artifact, any enchantment, or a big power creature is pretty good because you can usually hit like a Tivit or a Crom with
Mm-hmm.
the exercise if you have the mana for Tivit, I should say. But
Right. Well, speaking of the mana for Tivit, though, like, there's a good way to avoid that ward effect in this set. By the way,
oh,
right? So maybe you don't
pick your
have to worry
poison.
about that
Let's go.
ward. Well,
That pick
there's
your
the
poison reprint.
it's not Figure Poison. I'm not thinking about Figure
Oh Lord.
Poison, but that does exist. The next card I want to talk about has Eerie. And now I'm only bringing this up because I bet you there's a combo here, and I wasn't trying to think that hard for it. But Optimistic Scavenger for one white creature human scout. Maybe we can challenge ourselves right now, Will, to find the combo. Whenever an enchantment you control enters, or whenever you fully unlock a room, put a 1/1 counter on target creature. The first thing that came to mind in mono white, well, there's one important one, which is Leonin Relic Water. Oh, no, never mind. That's just an artifact. In Orzhov, you can do Animate Dead and Leonin Relic Water. Pre-war Formalware will also like do the loop, but it's an artifact. So you can just go infinitely large on everything if you have payoffs that need +1/+1 counters or things that manipulate +1/+1 counters to some effect. This is a really good card, provided you have some sort of loop. Is it going to be part of some Protean Hulk line? Is it going to be leveraged in some mono to dual colored list? Potentially, but there's a combo here. I'm not trying to think too hard on it, but there's a combo here.
It's
It,
at least an outlet.
it's at least an outlet, which, I mean, don't you want infinitely large things? It doesn't seem so bad to me. But uh, a Void Rod? Oh, sorry, I just read that. That's kind of dope. Yeah, anytime I see something that has combo potential, I do want to highlight it. Whether it's used now or later, it's just good to take inventory of those cards. But Optimistic Scavenger is definitely one of the better ones, at least for counter manipulation. The next card I want to bring up, and it's a returning character, is Redress Fate. Her name is Aminatu, I believe. So it's a miracle card, and there are a handful of miracle cards from the set. I think this is one of two I want to highlight, but it's 6 and double white for sorcery. Return all artifacts and enchantment cards from your graveyard to the battlefield. Obviously, you don't want to do that. You want to pay 3 and a white for the miracle cost. So if you have a way to set this up, you could do this at instant speed. It's not far-fetched. I think it's actually quite good. Any way to put a card back on top of your library, like if you're in green, Noxious Revival, and or you personal tutor this is a really good way to recover your shit. But also, if you are doing that, there are ways to set this up so where you can rock this at instant speed if you have a way to draw at instant speed. But any sort of self mill with this as a setup is a good way to just dump your graveyard. Also, if in a world of infinite mana, it's just 8 CMC to do the thing, but I kind of like this miracle. If you are rocking a miracle list, then maybe this is more alluring to you, but not that many decks just randomly use miracles, I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, and one thing you can do with this is you can do Hermit Druid or something along the same lines, mill your whole deck, and then
Mhm.
use Turn the Earth to put this on top of your deck, or to shuffle this into your deck,
Right.
and then you draw it and get everything back.
Right. And hopefully you should win with that. Whatever you're
Oh,
doing, hopefully you should win. Make sure your Grand Abolishers out, okay? Be very embarrassing otherwise. The next card I want to talk about is another uncommon. I have a lot of uncommons listed from the set, but this one I actually quite like. The theme of the set really gets me, man. Savior of the Small. For 3 generic and a white, it's costly, I know. 3/4 body, creature, core, survivor. Oh god, cores growing in numbers. Survival. It's just a card I want to highlight pretty much for survival. I think this is the first one I'm mentioning. But at the beginning of your second main phase, if this character is tapped, they just need to make it to second main and be tapped. It doesn't matter how they got tapped. So if your deck utilizes effects that tap things down, Springleaf Drum is probably one of the more common things that gets leveraged in lists that utilize Rograk, stuff like that. Then you can do this. If it's tapped, return target creature card with a mana value 3 or less from your graveyard to your hand. This is pretty good, in my opinion. It's just a value engine into the late. It's a 3/4 body, so not that many things can actually block it and kill it without some sort of trick. But also, it's a 3/4 body. It's not so bad. I do think that, most CDH lists, and I should say that we are covering this set from the perspective of CDH players, but I do like highlighting good effects, and I think this is one of them, albeit it doesn't really have a spot in any deck that comes to mind for me, except for maybe like a monocolored list, but even then, the slots are getting tighter in 99 Singleton with each successive set.
I do have to say though, 4 mana, do nothing into next turn, get a thing from your graveyard back to your hand feels to me.
Oh, I wouldn't. I mean, this would be the first thing I like Chrome Mox. It depends. Like if you have a list that can tap this down, or you play effects that say permanents enter the battlefield tapped, then you're like, oh, okay. But
yeah,
otherwise,
that was a joke of the survival cards I said with a friend. Man, what is it? Static Orb for the win.
I think it's is it that or Orb of
Static Orb? Nothing ever untaps.
Is it Orb of Dreams? Wait up. Orb of Dreams.
Orb of Dreams is everything enters play tapped. Static Orb is only 2 permanents untapped per turn,
right.
So you just never untap your survival effects.
Right,
You're so triggering every time.
This would be really cool. I could see survival being jammed into decks that are running stacks like this. What does Root Maze also hit creatures? I forget. It's just lands and artifacts and lands.
Yeah.
Either way, survival. Just bear that in mind. I did want to highlight one survival card. I liked that one, but like Will said, it's difficult to utilize them unless you're, it has haster. It entered tapped.
I do have to say, you're safe, kiddo. For at least the next 10 minutes, that's about all I can promise. That is some great flavor text. I love that.
So, speaking of floorboards being broken, I don't know. That's not true. No one spoke of that. But at least that's what we saw in the art. This stuff reminds me of... These rooms remind me of... Have you ever played the board game? I have it behind me. Betrayal at House on Haunted Hill?
I know that. Betrayal at House on the Hill.
Right. All these room cards remind me of that game.
Yeah.
The set's giving me really big Betrayal vibes. But the card I want to highlight here is Secret Arcade. We know what rooms do. I'm just going to read the one half. You can check out the other half while it's on screen. 4 generic and a white. Non-land permanents you control and permanent spells you control are enchantments in addition to their other types. I gotta say, in Sithis, this is very easy to cast. Extremely easy to cast. And then as soon as you do that, if it sticks, my God. Look, the issue with the deck is that you can only run so many enchantments and still be effective. Like there have to be other spells in the deck. But imagine if all those other spells were also enchantments. This card is stupid in an Enchantress list. I can see Sithis running this very effectively and leveraging this to draw your deck that much quicker. That's part of the solution to the list, is just finding the answers, and this helps you get there really, really quickly. I like it a lot. That's really the only list I can think of that cares about this, but any Enchantment Matters list, this is really, really good for. Also, that Serra Sanctum I have. Where's my Serra Sanctum? That Serra Sanctum I have is so much better. If every single non-land permanent I control is an enchantment, holy crap, that's a lot of white. Yeah, I like this card a lot. Again, it's another excuse to make Sithis again, but I don't know if you have any thoughts on this. Or the other half of the card. Like, the other half of the card is not bad.
The other half of the card is really good, in fact, because all of your things are going to be enchantments, meaning whenever you cast a thing, you put +1/+1 counters on a creature you control equal to that spell's CMC, which in Sithis means your Sithis is killing with commander damage.
Oh yeah, she gets nasty, nasty big, dude. Yeah, obviously this doesn't offer evasion or like flying counters or something like that, but
Who needs evasion when you have 5/20/20s?
right. Well, that's funny because the list I run leverages the enchantments that say whenever you do this, make a 4/4 angel. And it's like, well, if those 4/4 angels were 30/30 angels, it's pretty good.
Yeah,
I really
well,
like this card. I do think it could be played. What's up?
now we can go for the cat in the hat combo in Sithis, the post-war pre-war forever
Oh,
wear with Leonin. That's the new
hell
Sithis
yes.
combo, but you can also just do all of the Sithis things.
Hmm. Yeah, it is pretty good. It's pretty good for the lista, namely the cat in the hat thing Will's talking about. It's whenever you cast. I don't know if we can just have it ETB and do the trick, but
The cat in the hat trick is Hermit Druid exile your whole, or not exile, mill your whole deck. Then use Savine's Reclamation
oh,
back, the Form Aware, and the Sack Outlet to just do Leonin Relic Order over and over and over again.
the sigil. Oh yeah, sigil of the empty throne. This is one of those cards, by the way. I'm sorry, this is a card that was in the
Yeah.
deck. Hey, alchemical singed. Okay, next card I want to talk about. It's so many from white. I'm sorry, I like the color. I see the value in everything. I'm sorry, but we're almost done. At least for my portion of this color, and I might have missed something. This is just another mass removal spell. That's all. So destroy all tapped creatures, destroy all untapped creatures. Really good against Najila. I'm not gonna lie. Not enough people are on Toxic Deluge these days. A lot of times I see Najilas just have healthy ass boards ready to combo, when really we should put a stopper on that shit. And this helps you get there. I wouldn't say that this is better than, say, a damned, although in certain instances it is. Obviously, if you're taking your turn, your shit untapped, unless you have a sphere of resistance or whatever. Not sphere of resistance, the other sphere, static orb. Um, this is a really good mass removal spell at 3 CMC, in my opinion. I like it quite a lot. It's a bit of a double-edged sword, but you can plan for this pretty easily.
Cap for its a double-edged sword. This is never a double-edged sword, and the only reason I say that is it's sorcery speed, meaning that you untap, cast this on tapped things and nuke everything, or you move to combat, attack, then blow up all non-untapped things, or all untapped things.
That's fair. That's
This
fair.
card is so good. Like, it is white toxic deluge. Or deluge.
Deluge. Yeah, yeah. I guess you could say that. I mean, it depends on the situation. I'm not going to say that it's always viable to just swing your board, because the things that are untapped, if there are enough of them, could probably kill your shit. Like, the survivability is one thing, but I mean, I guess that's why you're splitting up, right?
Yeah,
But like Will said, you can if the thing you want to kill is untapped, you can definitely go to combat and make your dreams come true. Make sure you cast this before you summon sick a creature, if that's what you're trying to do. It's really good though. I'm glad you like it, Will.
yeah, it's really good because if people are swinging out and doing their thing, then you just go untap, upkeep, nuke all untapped or nuke all tapped creatures. I'm
For
the
three
only person
mana,
with the board now.
yeah, for 3 mana, that's really efficient. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if this was designed with Commander in mind, but I'll say it's really good in a 4-person game, because at 3 CMC, that's a lot of value for what you're getting. I think this is something I might actually test in Oswald.
I'd
There's
recommend it.
Final Showdown and there's Winds of Abandon. I could see making space for another destroy all thing, because there's plenty of times where people will just like kill Oswald and I don't have anything better to do. And as a tempo play, this is really good for murking the board.
I oh the flavor text on this gets better the more you read.
Hmm.
Don't be a wimp. We'll cover more ground this way. Rianne, former survivor.
Oh god. I don't see it having a slot in a lot of cEDH decks, but it's really good in general. Yeah, I don't know which lists care about the flexibility of this, but I do think it would be, again, monocolored and or dual colored tops. There's another card I want to talk about. White has all the good rooms, I just want to say, in my
But
opinion.
I also want to say this is going to see maybe more play than Toxic Deluge, just because you can control this way more than Toxic, whereas you usually only play Toxic in a deck where you have high toughness stuff or you don't care about your creatures. But
Mm,
with Split Up, you just put this in. It's better Wrath of God, or it's usually better Wrath of God.
right, right. Yeah, the double white pips could be difficult for multicolor, let's like 4 or 5 colors, but if you're planning for this, it shouldn't be difficult to crack that fetch and get the white. Plus, you should be on every rainbow land ideally, so you'll get there. Okay, well, there's another card I need to buy, I guess. Is there different art? Holy shit, there's different art. I like the other art better. I like the other part. Okay. Anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, the alternate TV retro art isn't that great. Okay,
Oh, it
but
looks cool. It looks cool.
whatever happens, we need to stick together. Ah!
Oh, I think my limiter cut you off. Well, but
Aw.
we were there for the horror. I felt the horror in your
Wait,
voice.
why does that look like what's his name from Cyberpunk? The Cyberpunk
Oh,
anime.
Edge Runner. Oh, by the way, I don't know if you guys saw, but Netflix announced that they're continuing doing more cyberpunk anime, and his name is God. I only finished Cyberpunk a little
Is
while
it
ago.
Gabe?
He's like
No,
mentioned in
what's
the
his
video
name?
game. You get his jacket. No, his name ain't Gabe. It's all right. Don't worry about it. You guys,
I should
you
know
guys only
his
saw the
name.
art for like a hot second, but okay.
I
Well,
should know his name. Oh,
look at Miguel Rodriguez or something. Miguel. Oh shit, I don't remember his name. Guys, let me know if you know the kid from Edge Runner's name. Oh man, I was about to. It's a good show. Watch the show. Rebecca's the best. Her shotgun in Cyberpunk, fucking great. At any rate, Surgical Suite, a generic in white, enchantment room. When you unlock this door, return target creature card with mana value 3 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. So it's just a good way to recover things. I just like highlighting these. This isn't the best at this, mind you, but in a list that cares about enchantments, this is a good one. There are effects that do this for 1 mana. Again, not the best at this, but you do have the option to, whenever you attack, put a 1/1 counter on target attacking creature. So things will get larger just for unlocking the other door. It's a mana sink, provided you have nothing else to do. I'd say you do that in the late. I would say that this is just for Enchantress list, but again, anytime I see a recovery effect in white, I kind of want to highlight it. This is good, but I do think that the one we got from Brothers War recently is probably one of the better ones. Actually, no, Jolted Awake is one of the better ones.
Yeah, Jolted Away. And Surge. Surge of Energy's pretty good just because it hits artifacts as well.
Surge of Energy.
Sorry, no, it's Jolted Awake. I'm being dumb. You're right. The name cards. I'm being stupid.
Yeah, but no, you're good, man. Yeah, Jolted Awake is great. Obviously, it doesn't go as high unless you have more energy, but
Yeah.
what you're
Also,
getting is probably going to be 2 and under.
David. That's the name of the character.
David Martinez.
I don't know if it's Martinez, but I know it's David.
All right, well, don't worry.
It's a similar last name.
I kind of want to rewatch that show. I've rewatched Arcane so many times. I don't need to rewatch that again. I'm very excited for season 2. It's really good. Will watch Arcane if you haven't. Sure you
I have.
Okay. Yeah, but I might watch Edge Runner again. Last white card I want to bring up. Damn, we've been on white for a minute. Unwanted Remake. 1 white. Destroy target creature. Its controller manifests dread. Basically, you... Okay. I'm just going to read the reminder text. That player looks at the top 2 cards of the library, then puts 1 card onto the battlefield face down as a 2/2 creature and the other into their graveyard. It's like a morph creature. If it's a creature, you can turn it face up anytime for its mana cost. Also, if you happen to flicker the creature, you can get the creature right side up and you have Razaketh now, or whatever it is. This is really, really good. It's also important to note that the other card goes into your graveyard, so depending on what you're trying to do, right? Like if for say, let's say that was a Razaketh and this is only good for your opponent, you could put that in your graveyard if you have the reanimated hand or whatever. Like manifest is a manifest dread, I should say, is not a bad thing. It could actually be quite a good thing, but for the player utilizing this, It's just a really clean way to destroy the thing. Obviously, we have Path to Exile, we have Swords to Plowshare. Like, there's plenty of ways to really clear the board of creatures, but this is just another new good piece of removal. Also, if you want to manifest dredge your own thing, you can do this. I have been
I
seeing manifest flicker decks as give us, yeah, it's a good idea.
I also do want to just point out, loop this card and deck somebody, or if somebody vampiric tutors, make them have to either manifest or mill the card. This is really good disruption in addition to just being a white Pongify.
Mm-hmm. Right, right. And I don't want to say that your target is dictated off of like any sort of top deck tutors. I think you're probably going to try to reserve this for some form of hate that's stopping you. But in a game where everyone's playing greedy, this is not a bad option, right? Like save your path for their dock sides, but use unwanted remake for everything else. I think it's a good I think it's a really good one CMC slot removal piece for white, and honestly flexible into multicolored decks as well. And again, like you were saying with Manifest Dread Flicker decks, if you know that the top of your deck has something you want that's a creature, put it down. Put it down. It's not a bad idea if you're generating tokens or just have a creature you don't mind dying. All right. That's it for white for me.
I have two.
God.
Two that have not been gone over yet. And my first one is one of the first cards, which is Porcelain Gallery. And this is part of Dollmaker's shop. Both sides are pretty good, but Gallery is the notable one. So Gallery is 4 white, white. Creatures you control have base power and toughness equal, base power and toughness each equal to the number of creatures you control. This is just a kill effect in a lot of different decks. If you have a deck where your commander just incidentally goes wide, this wins. Because you can, like Najeela, 8/1/1s. Okay, well, they're now all 8/8s. Deal 64. Kill somebody.
Yeah.
And making up to 3 1/1 toy tokens a turn is not bad either for the 2 mana side. So you can play it early for the 2 mana side, build a board, then flip it at some point and just go boom and
Yeah,
kill
and I
somebody.
feel like that's definitely the route you would go. You'd probably enter the Dollmaker's shop before you unlock the gallery.
Yep.
I'm just taking in the art, man. The set
Yeah.
has some gnarly freaking art.
And it
Yeah,
also has
I misread Porcelain Gallery. I feel like we talked about it in the Discord, but yeah, it is it's really good when you have a board that just goes wide. And another deck that I guess could care about it would be Winota. I guess even you're gonna have a wide board anyway, so it just helps you get there because you're usually trying to knock people out.
yeah, name
Yeah,
any go wide deck and
yeah,
then this is a win con.
right.
A-
Yeah, go on.
and my other card, and this one I really, really like, is Sheltered by Ghosts. 1 white for an enchantment or enchant a creature you control. When this enters the battlefield, exile target non-land permanent an opponent controls until this leaves the battlefield. The enchanted creature gets +1/+0, lifelink, and ward 2. This is pretty good in Zur. You can find this very easily, and then you have a protected Zur and you removed a problem permanent.
Yeah, plus the ward 2 is pretty legit. Obviously, it makes dealing with that creature, whatever that creature is, even more difficult. Imagine putting this like on your Grand Abolisher. It's like it's already annoying to have to try to kill the Grand Abolisher. That's when you deluge, by the way.
Yeah, and
Or
once again,
split ways or whatever.
this is another 2 mana remove the One Ring effect. So it's not gonna remove it
Right.
for forever, but there's so many other benefits to it that it's good enough.
Yeah, it's funny because I mean this is obvious. Damn, dude, there's so many good enchantments from the set. It is really making me reconsider just having an Enchantress deck again because like you're saying, this is quite good being attached to. I mean, it's one of those temporary exiles, but being attached to protection is so nice for it. The lifelink is also not negligible. There's certain synergies that care about it. Also, your life, if your deck cares about your life, say you're manipulating the One Ring to some great effect, the lifelink could be useful in the long run. Um,
Can I also point
like
out Bright Paws,
right,
the the Aura tutor card. Oh yeah, just tutor out removal and protection for your commander, and a little bit of buff and lifelink.
Oh, you said Light Paws. Light Paws was the name, right?
Light Paws? Is it Bright
Yeah.
Paws or Light Paws? I can't remember. I
I think
don't
it's
play the deck.
Light Paws.
You're probably right.
I think that's what you said though. That's okay. Guys, I think that's white for us. If there's anything else from white that you guys want to discuss, let us know in the chat. I think we covered pretty much every good white card from the set, and we named at least 10. At least 10 good ones. My gosh. I will move on to blue elsewise, but please holler. All right. First card I want to talk about, and I have 6 blue cards, is Promising.
I have 4.
Oh yeah, is Promising Stairs one?
No, it is not.
Okay, I'm just bringing this up because it's another win con. So that's literally the only reason I'm bringing it up. It's not even a good one. But bear with me. At the beginning of your upkeep, Surveil 1. If you win the game, if there are 8 or more different names among unlocked doors of rooms you control. It's just another win the game card. I like to highlight these things because maybe at some point you could leverage this for an easy win. There is no clean way to leverage this for an easy win right now. It's another win the game card. The only reason I'm bringing it up. I guess we could look at the elevator. When you unlock this door, search your library for a room card that doesn't have the same name as this. In Singleton, it wouldn't. You could probably start with that if there is an important enchantment room in your deck. This is just another way to find those rooms. But yeah, it's like you're probably not going to leverage this in a deck until, it's like having gate wins in decks. Like the more gates we get, the more viable they get. So maybe Promising Stairs in the future, provided we get more rooms, will become a realistic win con, but it's just okay. I wrote down Cursed Windbreaker solely to mention sort of the same thing that Gibbous brought up here, the Manifest Flicker decks. This is just a really clean way to do that. I forgot that I had an example for you guys that Manifest Dread, but Cursed Windbreaker, same sort of story. It's 2 generic and a blue, except you're manifesting Dread your own deck. So if you top deck tutor whatever you needed, like a scheming symmetry into this, you get the thing, and then you can obviously flicker it and turn it right set up, and oh no, you have Jin Cataxius. It's more important in blue because blue has a majority of the playable flicker effects and or like bounce effects. Sometimes you could do it that way, but I do think that just paying for the thing's cost and or flickering it is probably the better way. This is just a decent example of like a Manifest Dread in blue. I don't know if you have anything to say about that. It's not like amazingly good.
It is a card that you may want to flicker, and it's good because it gives you a flicker target. Good enough.
And evasion. Okay, so here's the card, the Enduring card, that's just strictly better than the other Enduring card. 2 generic and double blue, flash, Cat Glimmer, 4/3 body. Whenever a creature you control deals combat damage to a player, draw a card. When Enduring Curiosity dies, if it was a creature, return it to the battlefield under its owner's control as an enchantment. Again, insert go wide deck if you are looking for card advantage.
It's Flash Toski.
I know. It's just better. Right. But
it's Flash Toski that survives when it gets removed for the first time.
Yeah, and what's sad is that Toski's actually played.
Yeah. And it's in blue because blue needs better versions of every card.
Yeah, oh yeah, and blue definitely needed more draw. It's kind of sad that this isn't capped in any way. Do you know what I mean? Like one or more creatures damages a player. Instead, it's just whenever a creature you control damages a player. Your combat
literally
damage.
Just Toski. Just literally, man.
It's good. It's really good. Yeah. The next card I want to talk about. This is an example of Eerie, but it's just another draw utility. It's the only reason I'm bringing it up.
It's another example of blue getting better cards than existing cards as well.
Oh, what's the 1/1? Well, let me read it off first. It's 2 generic and a blue for flash, Eerie, 2/3 body. Whenever an enchantment you control enters, or whenever you fully unlock a room, draw a card. So basically,
it's an enchantress. It's better than most enchantresses in green and white.
Yeah.
And as flash.
Yeah.
Why?
I don't know. It's kind of annoying. I wish this was white. I mean, Does white have trackers? I don't know. Why couldn't they? I feel like,
White has flash, and white like does enchantment stuff.
yeah, it's weird.
Why?
It's weird.
Give it to white, give it to green. Both would have been fine.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a good card. I hate that it's in blue. Because I think it would have been better served in white or green, but it's whatever. Rooms are blue, red, and limited. Rooms are
Yeah,
blue,
it.
red, and limited. Oh.
I know that rooms are supposed to be blue red, but Eerie should not break the color pie. Because is it is not the enchantress color, but they're giving it an enchantress. Like, granted, Bant has been the enchantment color for so long, and that's why this technically works. Still
Mm.
hate it.
Next card I want to bring up. It's okay. Just another draw utility. You don't need that many new ways to draw in blue, frankly, but I did want to highlight this one because I don't think I've touched on it in Pending. But Overlord of the Flood Pits for 3 generic and double blue, 5/3 body, enchantment creature, avatar horror, impending 4. So, generic double blue. This is that weird suspend that Will was talking about. What's actually not even weird. I kind of like it better because it's at end step. But basically, when you cast it for its impending cost, it gets time counters. And it isn't a creature until the last one's removed. At the beginning of your end step, remove a time counter. So it starts ticking instantaneously, which is quite nice. Flying, when Overlord of Flood Pits enters or attacks, draw 2 cards, then discard a card. So it's Feeling Your Grave, it's card advantage, it's pretty decent. At 3 CMC for the impending, not so bad. I don't know that this is going to see much play in a cEDH setting, but I do like it.
Yeah, it's usually just going to be worse frantic search in most cases, but there's probably a way to abuse this. Brago. There we go. You could put this in Brago, play it for 3, then keep flickering it and attacking with it. There you go.
I like that. For its enters before it isn't a creature. Well, what is it then? Is it just an enchantment?
Yeah, just an enchantment.
Okay, so Brago
It's a
could.
god. It's a god basically.
Okay. Last card that I want to bring up in this color is, I think, on the next page. Unable to scream. Okay, so there's like a lockdown effect by way of Kenra's transformation. Kenny is 1 more mana and lets you draw a card, but we're going to ignore that. Unable to scream for a blue enchant creature. Enchanted creature loses all abilities and is a toy artifact creature with base power and toughness 0/2 in addition to its other types. This could be useful if you do it to the Magda player. Does it care about artifacts? I forget. As long as an enchanted creature is face down, it can't be turned face up. So it's playing along with that theme. This is just a good way to turn off effects of pesky creatures while keeping them on the battlefield, because now they have to deal with one of 2 things. I like it. It's just another one of these effects. I kind of like the white enchantment you brought up more. This is still
Yeah.
okay. This is still okay. So Will, what blue cards were you hoping to
There
discuss?
is 2, one from the commander decks and one from the regular ones. I'll go over the commander deck one first, being Fear of Sleep Paralysis.
Oh yeah.
So this is one that people have been bringing up for casual a lot, and it's relevant enough to talk about for competitive. So, Fear of Sleep Paralysis. 5 and a blue for an enchantment creature nightmare with flying, and Eerie. Whenever this or another enchantment you control enters, and whenever you fully unlock a room, tap up to one target creature and put a stun counter on it. Then, stun counters cannot be removed from permanents your opponents control. You permanently lock down everything with the stun counter on it.
Until this
The re-
dies. Until this dies. Yeah.
yeah, but there's a couple cards that let you put stun counters on like lands. There's a couple cards that let you put stun counters on artifacts and other things. So inevitably with this, if you play your cards right, you can lock out everything. I don't know how great this is going to be, but even when this dies, they keep everything tapped for another turn, and then you still have a whole turn to do whatever you want, and then they actually untap it after that. So interesting bomb card. I don't think it's going to be played in most decks, but it's a interesting utility card.
Yeah, I like that it's not useless when it ETBs. Man, imagine this shit in Sithis. Uh,
Yeah, this was in white or something. That'd be hilarious and
just,
gross.
just locking shit down instantaneously. It again, I know it. They this was designed not necessarily with commander players in mind, but this would have been so cool in white or green.
I
But it's fine.
I also love that you can keep targeting the same thing with the eerie effect. So you can just go, I'm gonna put 20 counters on that one thing, even if you kill this, that is never untapping.
Right, right. Yeah, you can double down on things that you just don't want to be bothersome. Um,
Very dumb. And
what's the last card? Is it Fear of
uh,
Isolation?
no, it is Marina Vendril's Grimoire. This
Oh,
is a legendary artifact. It's 5 and a blue for legendary artifact. When this enters, if you cast it, draw 5. You have no maximum hand size and you don't lose the game for having 0 life. Whenever you gain life, draw that many cards. Whenever you lose life, discard that many cards. If you have no cards in hand, you lose the game. The reason why this card is funny and notable, Shabraz. This goes infinite with Shabraz. Whenever you draw a card, gain a life, put a +1/+1 counter on Shabraz, you draw your whole deck with the deck in hand, bounce the Grimoire, whole deck in hand, win the game with whatever.
mhm.
Um,
You should.
I like it. It's funny because you can just do this with Brawl and Shabraz and do the thing, but if people stop you from doing the Brawl and Curiosity combo, you just go Shabraz, uh, War of Invention, draw a card later on game. GG.
Do you see this bringing that deck back around? I don't think I've seen it played for a while.
I see it once in a blue moon, but I think this is something that people are going to try for that deck because it's a one card inclusion that gives you another way to win that is in a completely different direction than what you'd normally want. But I don't think it's going to be game changing. I think it's going to be a nice tech card that people run for that deck.
I take it. I take it. I wish there was an easier way to put this thing out. At 6 CMC, it is kind of high, but
Yeah,
you're in the right colors to ramp out, so it's not the end of the world. I like it. I like it.
it's cool.
If there are any other blue cards, though, please, please stop us now, because I am about to move on. Let's see here. I don't think
We
there's
can,
anything else from blue I really liked. Thank God there were no new decent counters.
we forgot that free counter spell blue from the set.
Is there another one? Oh, please, sir.
All
Oh,
right, let's start going to black. If somebody brings up blue cards, we can go back around.
sorry, I'm so sleepy, guys. This is like nearly 60 hours this week for me. I'm so tired. I'm gonna be good tomorrow though. I drank like 6 cups of coffee before I switch to scotch. Um, I have a couple of black cards. I have 2, 4, 6, 7 black cards in total. Some of these might be examples like I've been giving. This first one though, I do like. I do think it could be an effective cEDH card, and that card is Come Back Wrong. See, that's why you always burn the bodies. For 2 generic and a black sorcery, destroy target creature. If a creature card is put into a graveyard this way, return it to the battlefield under your control, sacrifice it at the beginning of the next end step. Basically, for a mana cryptable removal spell, you get to take your opponent's best thing, right? And then clear it from them. So it's important to note it gets sacrificed at the end of the turn. If you have non-unwinding clock, if you have that one clock that stops time or you're
Sundial,
playing
sundial.
Obeka, yeah, right, then maybe you can stop this and like keep the thing. But really, the way I see it is you're playing their best thing for 3 mana, and you get it for a turn. So if it has like a really decent ETB, great. If not, if you want to make sure you get leverage it for something. But whatever it is you're stealing, make sure it's their best target. I think for the most part, like in a cEDH setting, it's probably just going to hit a dockside, and that's fine. But it's also clearing them of having that threat potentially. So I like it. It's bad saw in half.
Yeah,
Yeah, I guess you could say that.
it's saw in half mixed with hijack.
Saw in Half
It's
doesn't steal creatures though.
it does not, which is why it's mixed with hijack.
Right. I was gonna say like it's not quite the same. Saw in Half, you're just splitting your own creature in two. This is taking your opponent's shit, so it's a little bit of disruption as well. But yeah, like what I was saying, it's hijack. We have some new hijack effects, if I'm not mistaken. Actually, one of the cards I've listed is a hijack from this set. It's not as good as like Claim the Firstborn or what's my other Wrangle. I really love
Wrangle.
Wrangle. Yeah, it's not quite as good as those, but it's still fine. I have Cynical Loner also to cover, not Cryptcast. Where are you?
Oh yeah, the Entomb.
Right, so I actually do like this creature. I think that if it sticks, it's just really good value. Obviously, a generic and a black for what is reasonably a do nothing is not the end of the world. I think opponents will attack into you to see if you'll trade up for whatever they're swinging at you with, but provided you're smart, a generic and a black, human survivor, 3/1 body. At the beginning of your second main phase, if Cynical Loner is tapped, you may search your library for a card, put it into your graveyard, then shuffle. Now, obviously, if your deck runs Paradise Mantle, Springleaf Drum, anything that's going to tap this for value, great, because now you also have an Entomb on a stick. It's pretty good. I mean, I actually quite like this. Maybe you put the stun counters on this, Will. I don't know.
Indeed.
I like it quite a bit. It's probably the best survival card from the set for cEDH players if you're looking for another Entomb or Unmarked Grave. I mean, this is just Entomb, mind you, but those are sort of the go-tos outside of those two, Buried Alive for creature piles. Those are kind of it, really, for putting shit in our grave outside of brain freezing and underworld breaching. I don't know. You have any additional thoughts on this card?
This card can set up to be kind of a one card combo because if
Mhm.
you just go, I put in I put in Razaketh the Foul-Blooded or Hoarding Broodlord, then I go Dread Return for the second time this ability triggers, then you do the whole thing and then you combo off.
Right.
So this has utility there. This is also good with the Gale Scion deck where you just do Dimir things and play stuff out of your graveyard over and over and over again. You can search up your Demonic Consultation, play your Demonic Consultation from grave, do the thing.
Does
Also pretty
does
good in
Delny
decks that
work on this? How does Delny read? What are the, any
two
trigger
power less,
two or less?
two or less power.
Oh, never mind. Okay, I thought it was a power defense.
But
Okay.
you also just have the ability to play any graveyard deck and abuse the heck out of it. Yawgmoth will probably want this just because if somebody chooses to block it, you sacrifice Cynical Loner before it dies. If people don't choose to block it, you put a what is it? Undying? Yeah, Undying. Yeah, Yawg uses Undying. You put an Undying creature into the graveyard, and then you set up to reanimate it.
I do think
It's a
that
useful card.
yeah, I mean it's a good threat too, because like you can really force a block with this if they're concerned about what you're entombing. And again, she's a 3/1. That's nothing to slouch, at. It's like it's gonna kill whatever likely you're targeting, whatever opponent you're targeting with this, and force a block if they're concerned. When really you are just trying to clear whatever threat they had. In most cases, people are greedy and they won't bother, but I do like it. All right.
In the very very weird case that your opponents only have a glimmer to block, it's unblockable.
Yeah, there you go. That is true. Not that that's gonna come into play too often. Deluge of Doom. You're talking about Toxic Deluge. You got a new one. It's not as good. We're not talking about it. Demonic Console. I'm only bringing this up because it's a new tutor. Now, see, this has a clear 1-to-1. This is just bad Demonic Tutor. But I want to say, in certain lists, it won't matter. I think in certain lists that this is probably just going to be a Demonic Tutor. You're going to have the Delirium. Those lists are things like what Anya Falconwrath, anything that's gonna flood your grave. This is probably just Demonic Tutor, so it's another option for you. I don't think every deck wants this, and there are plenty of tutors already in the game that are really clean and consistent, and 2 CMC or under. But this is just another new option. It's really good. Any lists that come to mind immediately for this one?
Oh, Not that I can think of off the top of my head, but I do want to bring up the point slash the joke of, is it bad demonic tutor or is it better traverse the Uvenwald?
I guess I could say that. I mean, it's also a demon.
Yeah.
Like, it's not like there aren't really good demons you want to be finding anyways. Like, do you want the Razaketh? Do you want the Villis?
Yeah,
Do you
I'm
want the
pretty sure
Changeling?
there's some demons that you want for random decks here and there, so
Right.
it is useful. Find your Razaketh like you said, find a Changeling like you said. There's a couple random demons that are combo cards if I remember correctly, so it's good.
Yeah, yeah. It's not useless until you have Delirium. It is actually doing things for you, or it could actually do things for you. Another card I want to bring up is just another interesting piece of removal. We got something like this not too long ago with a card called Eden Alive from the other set that's kind of themed like a horror movie. Um, what's it called? Crimson Vow? It's the one with a wolf's head. Doesn't matter. Look up Eden Alive. It Eden Alive is better than this in my opinion. But Final Vengeance for a black sorcery speed. As additional cost to cast the spell, sacrifice a creature and enchantment, exile target creature. I only bring this up because it's just another clean piece of removal in mono black. I don't want to put this in any other decks, and I'll just look up Eden Alive actually, see if that's actually the name. But it's very, very similar to this. It's like as additional cost, do the thing. Did I say Crimson Vow? Innistrad Midnight Hunt. As an additional cast to cost the spell, sacrifice a creature or pay 3 generic and a black. It's sorcery speed, 1 black, exile target creature or planeswalker. So this kind of extends the range of that effect. There aren't too many planeswalkers that are actively played, but more removal in mono black in the exile variety in one CMC. There aren't that many effects that actually do that in mono black, so it might just be these two, as a matter of fact. I could be wrong, but I don't know if you have anything to say about that. I'm just bringing it up because it's literally another
Yeah,
piece of removal in mono black.
another one mana removal effect.
Yeah, not horrible. Not amazing, but not horrible. This card though is pretty amazing, I think. Let me see if I remember this correctly. For 2 generic and a black, you may look at the top card of your library any time. You may cast spells from the top of your library by sacrificing a non-land permanent in addition to paying their other cost. This is just a really cool way to play through your shit. Sacrificing a non-land permanent may be kind of rough, but if you're writing a token strategy or you just have the things to sack, depending on what you're getting, it's really good. Maybe what's his name? Crick might enjoy this.
Well, you also have like a bunch of other decks that would probably be pretty happy with this. Like, I could imagine Nigila potentially trying this out because you just make a bunch of warrior tokens that you sack to play lands or other random things off the top of your deck. So, if you have a deck that can generate tokens, you might want to try this just because it's value. You're not doing Sensei's Divining Top stuff with this ever, but you can go through your deck and turn any permanent you control into draw.
Yeah, it's a really interesting utility from the set. I do like it. It's very much commander dependent because I wouldn't want to rely on the deck to be able to do
I
this.
mean,
I also want to
it's
say that
pretty good with Tevish. Pretty good with Tevish.
right, and with infinite mana, obviously this is an outlet because you could just sacrifice your commander, cast your commander, sacrifice your commander, cast your commander, right? You could just keep doing that to roll through your deck. So in that sense, it's actually quite good. But then, the world is kind of your oyster when you have infinite mana. If your leader isn't, or leader, if your commander isn't an outlet, well, then you just have one here. Not so
Yeah.
bad.
And notable thing, you can search this off of Zur. I don't think that there's going to be a new Zur deck with this, but it's a thing. You never know.
You never know. I don't think there's going to be any sort thing with this. I'd
I
love to see
doubt.
it. If you have any ideas, let us know. I think this is my favorite miracle card from the set. I'm pretty sure this is unique to this set. Metamorphosis Fanatic. So for 4 generic double black human cleric 4/4 body lifelink, when Metamorphosis Fanatic enters, return up to 1 target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield with a lifelink counter on it. Miracle cost of a generic and a black. This is a really good thing. So like once you do the Entomb or whatever, this is like not a bad card to have top deck tutored. So if you're on Scheming Symmetry, Imp Seal, Vampiric Tutor, if you're in green and have any of the top deck tutors, this is a really good way to flash that thing out. Remember miracles, like if you get the draw off turn, this will break the timing restriction. It's a miracle. It's cool. I like it. I don't, you know, your deck probably runs Reanimate and you're okay suffering the life loss, but this is kind of a cool effect to Miracle and not that difficult to set up. It's really not that difficult to set up, in my opinion. I like it. Again, I like miracles. I don't run any miracle lists, but if there are two good miracles, in my opinion, from the set, this being one of them.
I do want to say this is better Young Necromancer for
Yeah.
stuff like old stick fingers, and you can theoretically use this to do some weird Kiki Jiki thing if you really wanted, because you can Kiki Jiki Protean Hulk. There's a couple things that this lets you do cheeky stuff for. Interesting card.
Yeah. I mean, enters return up to one target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. Right, so as soon as you have it, you can still do more with it. That's interesting. If you were to Kiki Jiki this on the Kiki Jiki effect on the stack, sacrifice Kiki Jiki, return Kiki Jiki with a copy of this.
Yeah, you can also do the whole loop of you sacrifice Kiki Jiki to Birthing Pod to get this out, reviving Kiki Jiki, then you can tap Kiki Jiki to revive this, reviving like Felidar Guardian or something.
Right, right.
So if you just have a way of getting to Kiki Jiki, you can do Birthing Pod line, do the whole thing, and then you get through to Felidar, get to Kiki Jiki, sack, and then go back down, and then get back Felidar. There's definitely things that you can't do with this. It's pretty good. It's at very minimum making old stick fingers better because strictly better Young Necromancer.
I like it. And I like the art. Weird stalactite poop kind of droobling on his head there. Butterfly book. It's got everything. All right, guys. Probably my favorite card from Black. Especially if you fight a lot of Tivets. You'll understand why in a second. Nowhere to Run. For a generic and a black enchantment, Flash. When Nowhere to Run enters the battlefield, target creature an opponent controls gets -3/-3 until end of turn. Cool. Kill a majority of things. I think Drannith Magistrate will die. A lot of commanders will die. It's going to hit a lot of things for you. But in the What's More department, creatures your opponents control can be the targets of spells or abilities as though they didn't have hexproof, and ward abilities if those creatures don't trigger. So we've seen more and more creatures just get ward. This is a really good counter to that. I think is a piece of removal in Black, because this is instant speed, 2 generic, or 2 mana, excuse me, 2 CMC. This is really good removal with upside. If you needed a permanent sacrifice, could also just be that in the long term because it happens to be an enchantment. I really like Nowhere to Run as a card. I think as more ward effects come out, this will become more and more effective for just cleaning the board of that shit. All right.
It is also searchable by Zur, so if you want to play Control Zur because we got the Sheltered by Ghosts, here's another tool for you to get in that
Yeah.
deck.
Yeah, this card is sick though. I really do like it. The bit about hexproof isn't like a huge deal, but normally the greaves are grabbed, lightning greaves I should say, are grabbed over the Swiftfoot boots. Swiftfoot boots specifically hexproof, greaves or shroud. So like you can get around boots, but I mean both boots too, like the lava spur boots and the Swiftfoot boots, is the ward and then the hexproof. I don't. It's good. It's really good. I actually quite like this card. Will, are there any black cards I missed? I'm sure there are.
The ones that I have are I only have one. Doomsday Excruciator.
Oh yeah,
I love this card. For
it's
those who
pretty
don't
good.
know, black for a creature demon with 6 power, 6 toughness, and flying.
Demonic Console.
Yeah, exactly. When this enters the battlefield, if it was cast, each player exiles all but the 6 bottom cards of their library face down. at the beginning of your upkeep, draw a card. This card can be a win con if you have a Shuffle Titan or an Elixir of Immortality in your hand. Any way to just keep putting cards back in your deck, you can outlast your opponents and win the game. This is a very funny alternate win con, and it's pretty good because most people don't have creature counter spells, and it's basically a one card Thoracle depending on what your deck is.
Yeah,
Interesting.
you'll
It's
need the card
more
in
interesting.
hand though. You definitely
Yeah.
want whatever in hand. Also, if they like murk this, then I guess it's not. Oh, it's not the end of the world for
If
you
they
if the
murk
damage
this,
is
you're
done.
happy. You don't draw
Yeah.
2 cards per turn instead.
I mean, I at the end of the game, if with that effect on you, yeah, you can be kind of screwed. Each player, the fact
It's
that it's
risky.
symmetrical, yeah, the fact that it's symmetrical is pretty gross. I like that his mana cost is represented by the 6 black orbs in its art. All stars grow dark, all worlds come to an end. Who's that quote from? Is this Doomsday Excruciator saying that?
Yeah. What was the Oh, I remember I came up with a stupid meme for this. Let me find this.
Was that the only black card you want to talk about?
Yes, but I would need to find the Doomsday Excruciator
Would
joke
you
really quick.
would you crick this? Is that like what's the deck that plays this?
Okay, there we go. I think I found it. All stars grow dark, all worlds must end. But when your library is lost, he's still the shape of a friend. Hugs.
Oh, nasty looking friend.
I know.
No offense.
What, you don't want to put Doomsday Excruciator in your group hug deck?
I
He's not coming for
mean,
the hug.
yeah, he is kind of just trying to go in for a hug, isn't he?
Yeah, he's the shape of a friend.
All right, guys, if you're tuning in now, welcome. If there's any card in white, blue, or black you guys want to discuss, feel free to bring them up as we move on to red here. I only have so many cards to discuss in red. Also, if you want to do your old buddy, your old pal, your old friend, Doomsday Excruciator, or me a favor, you can leave this video with a like. Helps out a lot. All right. So, Will, I really only have a handful of cards in red. This color is not so favorable, in my opinion, to commander players. But one of my favorite cards from the set is actually in this color. And it has that same vampire from the black, actually. What's his name? What's that vampire's name? Is this not the same guy? Hold up. No. It's Dashing Bloodsucker. Dashing Bloodsucker looks like the dude in, am I wrong? Untimely Malfunction? Like that same hairstyle? Sorry. Okay, doesn't matter. I thought it was the Dashing Vampire. No, this worked perfectly in the laboratory. Untimely Malfunction. For generic and a red, instant speed, choose one. Destroy target artifact. Change a target spell or ability with a single target. Or 1 or 2 target creatures can't block this turn. This is a really good, flexible. We like to label these like as abrades, just modal things that destroy an artifact and then do another thing. A braid has been sort of the bread and butter in cEDH setting for mono red, maybe even split color for a good while because it does 3 damage. It's a lightning bolt for a creature or destroys target artifact. With the sure amount of removal, though, having the redirect attached to this is really powerful. I quite like this card. In the uncommon slot, keep whatever you get from pre-release, which was tonight, I guess. Yeah, this card is amazing.
Also, flavor loss for pre-release not being last week, because then it would have been on Friday the 13th.
Mistakes were made. I mean, I don't know. I don't know with their scheduling. But yeah, I feel like I covered everything with this card. You like the last mode on this one? Is
The
that true?
last mode is surprisingly usable. Because first mode's good, second mode's good. Third mode will work once on a blue moon, and honestly, good enough.
Hmm. Popular Egotist. Is that card in red? Odysseus? Hold up. I'll look this one up before I continue. I really don't have that much in red, so
Popular Egotist is 2 and a black for a creature human rogue with 1 and a black. Sacrifice another creature or enchantment. Popular Egotist gains indestructible and tap it. Whenever you sacrifice a permanent, target opponent loses 1 life and you gain a life. It's a self-protecting Blood Artist, but only works on sacrifice, but that still works with the whole Leon and Relic Order loop, so good enough.
Yeah, I like it. Just a good alternative. Speaking of Blood Artist, we did actually get a reprint of Blood Artist from the set, I think with new art, but there have been a lot of printings of that card. Sometimes you just really need to connect with Timna. Yeah, that's true. Untimely Malfunction definitely helps with that.
Yeah.
Vengeful Possession. This is the other card I want to talk about, and it is a hijack effect. Man, I wish this was 2 CMC. It would be very playable then. But for 2 generic and a red sorcery, gain control of target creature until end of turn. Untap it. It gains haste until end of turn. You may discard a card. If you do, draw a card. So you get Rummage attached to a untap / haste enabled whatever, right? It's not limited by CMC or any other form of function or the card. It's a decent hijack. The Rummage is nice for card quality. Obviously not the same as looting, but same difference. I like it. Anytime there's a hijack effect, I like highlighting them, but I will say that I typically restrict the hijack effects I use to CMC and under. I really wish this was 2 CMC. This would be very good at 2 CMC. At 3, it's passable.
I will say it is a very good hand-fixing card in Zada. Target your own thing, do all of the things.
Right, because it doesn't need to be an opponent's creature. This is true. Yeah, it is good for that. Also, it's a untapped utility in instances where you need that for one of your own creatures. So that could actually be quite good if you want to target your own thing. Well, what are the red cards you want to speak of?
There are several. I have 4 that still have not been brought up. So we're going to start off with Fear of Missing Out.
Yeah, I didn't really think of this card too highly in a commander setting, but convince me.
So Fear of Missing Out is 1 and a red for an enchantment creature with Nightmare. When this enters the battlefield, you can Rummage, and then Delirium. When this attacks for the first time each turn, if there are 4 or more cards in your graveyard, untap target creature. After this, there's an extra combat phase. This is a combo with Kiki Jiki. It is now the lowest CMC red card combo with Kiki Jiki. In addition to the fact that it's just another combo card, if you use this with Neheb, then you can do another combat per turn with Neheb, looting through your deck even faster. This is just a generally decent card, because even if you have I don't know if no, this doesn't work with Timna, but if you just are in a deck that needs to attack one more time, great. Anything on your end, Patrick? Like infinite flickers to loot through your deck or something like that?
I mean, yeah, no, the ETB Rummage makes it feel better, like you did something with your turn. Obviously, if you have a way to duplicate this.
Also, I want to point out, if you Rummage your Fear of Missing Out, you already are halfway to Delirium.
Yeah.
Like, if you put that into your graveyard, that is your creature and your enchantment.
Right, or it dies during combat, which isn't the worst thing. But I mean, obviously you want it around. Yeah, it's good. I have nothing else to say to that. I mean, geeky combos are kind of a thing of the past. But even still.
You say that, but the 1K was won by a Kiki combo deck.
Which was? Oh, really?
Yeah, a ton of Malcolm.
It would have
He
been
won with Glimhorn in the end, but he won another game with Kiki.
It was going to be won by an Oswald Will.
I know. We're pushing for that. My next card is
I'm pushing for that. I mean, you don't have to. Does the
I'm supporting, like, helping you make edits because I want that deck to win a tournament.
It was close. I did fine. I'm doing really well with One Piece. I have a regional coming up. I might have another one in Florida. I'm being convinced to go to Florida to play. We'll see.
Well, my next card is one that you've honestly fought for and said that it's really good, Patrick, and I'm surprised that we didn't have this in the list. But grab the prize.
Wait, I'm sorry. Wait, yeah. Fear of Missing Out combos of the clown too, right? Jolly Blue Man?
Well, you have to pay one every time, but
Never
yeah.
mind. Never mind. Never mind. Mana echoes, then it combos.
Yeah.
Sorry, grappling what?
Grab the prize. It's
Oh,
the
oh, damn it. Yes, you're right.
Yeah, it's the damaged version of tormenting voices.
I like
So
this
you can just
card.
repeat this over and over and over again and just burn everybody out.
Yeah,
In
this
addition to drawing a little bit.
right. So, like Will said, it's a tormenting voice. We're always looking for these, especially in mono red lists. This is just a good way to filter. It is card quality effect, because in addition to casting this, you are discarding a card, so you're net neutral on cards in hand. But if a land was discarded this way, you get to ping someone for not ping, you
Non-land.
shock someone.
If a land was
It
not
wasn't
discarded that way.
wasn't discarded, excuse me, thank you. So even better, because odds are likely 66% of your deck is going to be, non-land. I
And
like this card.
if you need a way of closing out the game but you don't want to run Bolt, use this. Loop through your deck and then just go grab the prize, grab the prize, grab the prize.
Right. You will need to functionally, if you're doing it this way, you will need to have a shuffler of some variety.
Depending, because if you can just if you can
Well,
Thousand Year Storm this, let's say, you will be drawing a total of 40 cards and dealing 40 damage.
you're right. Just don't deck yourself.
You just won't deck yourself because your opponent's life totals, the highest life total one opponent has to be more than the number of cards in your deck.
Right. I could see people being around. Well, I mean, there's always that one deck that's leveraging their life extremely, but also bear in mind that people are damaging each other. We'll
Well,
see.
it's
It's
like
like, as an
if
outlet, I think it's an optional out in certain decks.
yeah, let's say somebody has Sarah Ascendant in play and they've been gaining life. They have 52 life, but that means that you need to have 50, you have to have a 51 or less cards in your deck.
Mm.
So you're fine. You probably have more than 51 cards in your deck or are shuffling cards into your deck infinitely.
Um, you
Magda,
had
there you go. Magda can do this with Elixir of Immortality.
you had one more red card to discuss.
I have two more. I have Screaming Nemesis, or as I like to call him, Sigma Lasher.
Where is this
One card
board?
I've loved for a long time was Stigma
Oh,
Lasher, which is the 2 mana or double red 2/2 with Wither that when it connects, that player can't gain life for the rest of the game. Screaming
I thought
Nemesis,
this was a reprint for some reason, but go on.
nope. It is just a 3 mana 3/3 with haste. When it takes damage, you bolt something. If you bolt a player, they cannot gain life for the rest of the game. You keep this up as a blocker and then just kind of threaten to do stupid things. You can politic with people to let somebody throw their Zur in, or like you attack their Zur and then they block it and then you bolt something important and then you're both happy. As long as this exists, it's just this really stupid politics tool where people are like, hey, if I swing at you with a 1/1, can you kill that annoying piece of crap over there? Can you kill
Orcish
that Bowmaster
Bowmaster,
or that
yeah,
Esper
yeah.
Sentinel or that nah. This is just you play this on 2 or 1, and then you just sit there and go, hey, yeah, can we keep the board clear?
Yeah,
Cool.
I kind of like how you said about the 3/3 haster, you keep it up as a blocker.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah, no, it makes sense though. I
It's
really thought
if
that
you
this was
attack with it, if you attack with it, then you get one trigger. But if you keep it up as a blocker, you can get up to 3 triggers.
I thought this was a reprint because I know we just saw another red card recently that did a similar thing. I just read the they can't gain life for the rest of the game business, and I know we saw another red card
The
that
cat.
looked the cat that looked the same at a glance to me. And I'm like, oh, I guess we got new art, or
No,
I yeah, it's but I forget
newcomer.
how the cat works. It's not this good
Uh,
though.
the cat is while it's in play, players can't gain life, and then something take 2 damage whenever something happens. I can't remember.
No, there's another card that says they can't gain life for the rest of the game. It's not the
That
cat
is
then.
Sigma Lasher.
Is it Sigma Lasher?
Or yeah, sorry, Stigma. That is Stigma Lasher. This is Sigma Lasher.
Oh,
It
yeah,
is the
it's this.
yeah.
Yeah, never mind. It's this. Oh, this is old as fuck. What am I talking about?
Yeah, it is.
Why did I? When were we looking at this? I know I saw this recently and it was
We did a relative review of
Morning Tide.
Duskmourn. No,
Okay.
we talked about Duskmourn when the set got the initial view, and then I brought up the Screaming Nemesis, and then I brought up Stigma Lasher. That's probably why you saw that recently.
Links is a mini Price of Progress.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. All right,
Uh,
Will.
my final red card, and I really like this card, is Gleeful Arsonist.
Oh, I need to
Two
jump
in a
back.
red. A creature human wizard with 2 power, 1 toughness, and undying. Whenever an opponent casts a non-creature spell, this deals damage equal to its power to that player.
Mm,
You're just beating the crap out of people. If you have any kind of pre-built-in buff on your commander and want to play slow, this is punching people for 5 whenever they cast something. Lord.
dude. So you just leave this one up as a blocker, right?
Yeah,
Because it has Undying.
dude. You see the keyword, you have to leave it up as a blocker. I don't
Yeah.
care if it has shadow, you have to leave it up as a blocker.
I'm surprised this
Them's
set didn't have any shadow in it. I mean, this would be a good
true.
set for shadow, like things lurking in the shadow. All these fears could probably just have shadow. Um, all right. Yeah,
No, they needed to have fear of the dark and give that shadow.
that would be sick, honestly. And the art to match. Lethal
It's
Arts,
a black square.
yeah, this is really good. God, man. I mean, you wouldn't leave this around, right? I mean,
Thing
you
is, you're gonna deal with it by taking 10 because somebody decided to have the interaction.
right, but like you get so screwed on your ad nos turns. This is a really good stacks piece. And it is
Yeah.
asymmetrical too, mind you. So it's like you're perfectly fine with this being out. It's pretty
The
nasty for
other
3.
the other horrible thing though is Patrick, okay, you kill it when it's a 5/6. Comes back as a 2/3.
Also, I kind of like the fact that if this is out pre-ad nos, like they're already eating 5 just to get the ball rolling.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. Um,
Also, I just
oh,
want to
I'm
point out
sorry.
that
I'm sorry. They're not eating 5. They're not eating 5. They're eating
yeah, they're eating equal to power, which depending on how high you want it to be, could be 5.
Did you
Um,
guys cover Razorkin Needlehead? No, but we can. What were you gonna
Also,
say?
really quick, I want to point out the flavor text of Gleeful Arsonist, let the world burn. That's it. Just straightforward, let the world burn.
The jester like smile, is it kind of reminding you of Heath Ledger
Yeah, the
Joker?
extra
Yeah,
makeup on the side.
yeah, I'm kind of seeing it here. Did you guys cover Razorkin Needlehead? Let's look at it.
Razorkin Needlehead. I saw this, but for some reason I didn't have it in mind. This is a really good one too. Red for a creature human assassin with 2 power and 2 toughness.
Hmm?
It has first during your
Oh,
turn, and whenever an opponent draws a card, this does 1 damage to them. Really good curiosity effect, really good Ob Nixilis effect, really good effect in a lot of different decks. It's a good card.
yeah, I like it. First strike
Two,
during your turn. First strike. Leave
yeah,
it up as a
2 mana,
blocker.
nice Ristic Study. Do 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 do.
I mean, they're gonna chain of vapor before they try to go off, but you know, that's they had always planned that anyways. Those assholes. Yeah, I like it a lot. I like the art on this one a lot too.
I also like that it's
Oh,
when
but
your
this is
opponent
like the
draws, not when they draw their first card per turn, when they draw.
So this is
Period.
actually the only art I saw for this card. I think that's why I forgot to mention it because I was thinking about this one. But the alt art for this is so good. There are a handful of cards where it's the reflection of the horror. Am I right?
Yeah, Doomsday Excruciator is one as well.
You know what's funny
I think
though? It's a human assassin. The thing in her reflection is definitely a monster, an absolute
that's
monster,
it's just Freddy Krueger.
right? Dude, this art is so good. Um,
Also, I have to say this because a friend of mine wanted me to say this. Who are you calling Pinhead?
I've never watched Hellraiser. Is that a quote from Hellraiser?
No,
The
that's
guy's
a
name
quote from
is
SpongeBob.
okay, but his name is Needlehead. Pinhead.
Yeah, Needlehead, but you're thinking of Pinface.
I'm thinking of the guy from Hellraiser.
Isn't isn't it Pinface or something like that? It's like I think it's Pinface.
I need to look it up. I need to look it up. I watched a trailer for it. Allie and I were like, we need to watch some classic horror movies we've never seen before. That one's up there for me because I've definitely never seen it. All right. Moving on from Red, guys, if there's anything else from Red you want to discuss, please, for the love of Pinhead, let us know. Pinhead, thank you.
Okay, it was Pinhead. Okay.
Okay, so I've got a handful of green cards. It's fine.
I
There's
have
some,
two.
so there are a lot of cool shuffle the thing into their graveyard effects, and some are even at instant speed. But I want to bring this one up because it's just another option, okay? So it's not great, but it's another option. Cathartic Parting. And I don't think this has ever been printed before. The
It is
owner of
not.
it's sorcery. That's the major issue, honestly. But the owner of target artifact or enchantment an opponent controls shuffles it into their library. You may shuffle up to 4 target cards from your graveyard into your library. It's pretty good. I didn't realize this was a spotlight card. It's pretty good at just getting rid of indestructible artifacts or enchantments. Namely one. But again, it's just like another option for that, plus some recovery for you. I like the shuffle aspect as well. All right, so it's giving you play options, and they could be anywhere in your deck. But odds are likely this is really good with any sort of top deck organization. If you know what's on top of your deck and you want to reorganize it, this is a good way to do that. Without also giving you more play options again with the 4 you're putting back. It's okay. I don't think that this is going to go in many decks at all, but it's just another shuffle removal.
This is going to be a straight up replacement for one combo card that people use, Turn the Earth, because Thrasios decks right now use Turn the Earth with Noxious Revival to loop through their deck infinite times. They're replacing Turn the Earth with Cathartic Parting.
Turn the Earth is
100%.
one green, or and
Yeah,
with flashback of
yeah, one and a green, I believe, as well for flashback, and then
okay.
it's a shuffle up to 3 cards from graveyards into their controllers' libraries, and then gain 2
Specifically,
life.
it's any graveyard, has to be the
Any
same
graveyard,
graveyard.
any number of graveyards, you can
Okay.
hit like 1 card in each player's graveyard except for Dave, screw Dave, and then shuffle those cards into the deck. This is usually going to be better because it's removal and interaction, and you have utility outside of the combo. Also, apparently, Tamio canonically has a rat boyfriend. Let's go. Don't know why. Let's go to that, but let's go.
Yo, I didn't. Is that what's going on? We got
I,
more than most
I
people
think that's
do.
Tamio, and it's we got more than most people. We got the chance to say goodbye.
No, that's for sure Tamio. I know there's
Yeah.
some cards highlighting her from the set.
Don't know who the rat is though, because it could be
Mm,
Rat, who is technically invisible, so I don't think it's actually Rat. And then it could be somebody from Bloomborough. It could be what's his name, the freaking shark rat guy that
he
does
was in
vehicle
the
stuff.
preview videos.
Wait, no, I'm dumb. It's
It's
the
her adopted
Sultai rat.
son. Thank you,
Yeah,
Gibbous.
it's
Thank
Nashi.
you,
It's Nashi.
Nashi.
Yeah.
Thank you, thank you, thank
There
you.
we okay. So Tomio is a rat mom. There we go.
Well,
You got
adopted
dog
rat
moms.
mommy.
Yeah, you got dog moms, cat moms, and now you got rat moms.
um, moving on. This next card I actually quite like too. It's called Coordinated Clobbering. So, for a green sorcery, tap 1 or 2 target untapped creatures you control. They each deal damage equal to their power to target creature an opponent controls. It's just a new form of fight. Green really loves these effects, specifically fight and not fight. Excuse me, punch and not fight. Right, so you don't have to suffer any sort of damage this turn doing this, but it's just a really good way to double down on killing a threat. And green has a lot of powerful bodies just by virtue of the fact that you're playing green. So you can get away with probably tapping one thing to make this a very clean kill effect. But if for whatever reason the thing is larger, this is really good at illuminating it. The only issue is it's sorcery. So I know a lot of people are going to be ill interested in that alone. But I think in the 1 CMC slot, this is fairly good, especially if you're trying to go off on your turn, which most mono green decks are operating at sorcery speed unless they're on emergence zone. This is adequate. I don't think many lists outside of mono green would care for this, but it's not bad. I don't know if you have anything to say
Agreed.
about that card.
Nothing special. It's one green, kill a thing and tap a couple of your things.
Yeah,
I,
anytime there's more removal for green, I feel like I need to highlight it. Speaking of, there is another card in this set that's really decent off of the Green Sun Zenith called Insidious Fungus. We'll get to it in a second though. The enduring here sucks. But
Shame, no lies, slander. The enduring here is amazing.
you want me to talk
Yeah, I
about it?
do. Let's talk about it. This is on my list. Enduring a Vitality, and it is one green green for an enchantment creature Elk Glimmer with Vigilance, and it says creatures you control have tap at 1 mana of any color. And then it has the Glimmer when this dies comes back is just an enchantment. The reason why this is
I
really
like
good.
I like it's not an enchantment. It's an enchantment. It's not a creature.
Yeah,
It's like that reminds me. Have you ever seen that meme where the guy's like the cheese is under the sauce about the pizza? You ever
I
see that?
know of it. I have not watched it, but I've had so many people reference it to me that I know it.
Cheese is under the sauce. Yeah, it's such a cheese is under the sauce kind of reminder text. Sorry, what were you gonna say about this card?
So
That there's plenty of other cards that do this.
there isn't actually. And the reason why I say there isn't is we don't have a creature that does this because the two closest things we have are
Right
Catilda.
of
We've Catilda, which says humans you control can tap to add mana of their color to your mana pool. And then we have Asika of the World Tree, which is Wooburg, and it says your legendaries can tap for 1 mana of any color. This is the first time that we've had a 3 mana creature that says all of your creatures become Wooburg dorks. I stand by that.
no, I believe you. I believe you. You just don't know, Will. You just don't know. Wait.
The reason I know is because I've been building Livio Thrasius and yeah, Cryptothrite is a thing, but it's not a creature. Cryptothrite is not easy to find.
Depends on what
It's
you're.
a use the tap symbol instead of a tap instead of the word tap for your search.
There you go. A generic and a green enchantment creatures you control have tapped at 1 mana of any color. Okay, so look at that. It's expensive for some reason. People are
But
running
yeah,
Cryptolith, right? Okay, well, I'm sorry. So it's a creature that does that, sure. So you're over the moon for this little fucking deer. Why, Will?
yes, very much so. So the reason why is because if you're playing a Thrasios deck, this makes it so that you're going to get several more Thrasios activations. If you're playing a Livio deck, this is just search this up. You have enough mana to do the Livio combo with Bellringer. This is just a very good card. And even if you look at a deck like Najeela plays that weird 3 mana enchantment that does a similar or 2 mana enchantment, the black green one that does a similar thing. This does Najeela combos.
Which
You
one?
can
Wait,
easily
well, wait. There's another one that like stores counters that you remove the counters for
yeah,
1 mana of any color. That
that's on
was
a tap.
played, but I think most decks are off that one. Which one are you
Yeah,
talking
because you
about?
don't want to search up an enchantment.
Right.
Uh I think Najeela decks may be willing to run this though, because you just search this up with enough warrior tokens and do the thing. It's kind of another Derevi. It's worse Derevi, but it's another Derevi.
There are a lot of creature tutors, I'll hand it to you on that. And outside of just having black tutors that could find this.
If this was not a creature, I could not care less.
Well,
But
what's the
it's the
one?
fact that it's a creature.
What is the one? It's the black card that whenever your creature does damage to someone, you gain a treasure. It's like 4 CMC.
Grim
Does this
Hireling?
replace Grim Hireling? Is this no? Well, because Grim Hireling's a little bit better. Grim Hireling's a little bit better in that deck.
Yeah, because Grim Hireling, you just need to connect with two things, then you can activate Najeela, and then you're gonna have enough to go infinite. So you Grim Hireling's usually better, but I think this is just another option because some of the Najeela decks have been running War and Soul Trader, but this is basically just usually better War and Soul Trader. So I think they're
Okay,
probably
okay.
cutting War and Soul Trader for this.
Oxent likes it. There are a few effects that are a little bit more conditional. Rishkar, Puma Renegade. does that, but requires creatures to have counters. It's tutor-friendly sans black colors. Elven Chorus also does the effect, but it's an enchantment like Cryptolith, right? It's Elven Chorus, I think, is the one I'm thinking about.
Yeah, the Saga.
Right. All right.
The Enduring is bad in this color.
Nah, I'm still not into it. It is good. Okay, it is a good redundancy for that effect. You can tutor it. Obviously, again, like I was saying, Cryptolith rights exist. Apparently, it's played too. I mean, apparently it's played. I had no idea.
I mean, yeah, casual decks love it. Casual decks will always run another Cryptolith right effect. This is just another thing that's going to be played in a ton of casual decks as well.
Did I write down disorienting choice as an option? I don't know why I wrote down disorienting choice. It's a cute ramp piece. I don't really like it. I have a Ragadraga deck. I know the Mana Dork thing. Would you use this in your Ragadraga deck? Necrotic Ooze shenanigans? House Cartographer is my next card, though, and that's only because I skipped over Head Shredder. We'll get to that one in a second. But House Cartographer has really awesome art. I like the survivalist that have generic and a green in their costs, like the low end ones. But House Cartographer for generic and a green, 2/2 body. At the beginning of your second main phase, if House Cartographer is tapped, reveal cards from the top of your library until you reveal a land card. It doesn't need to be a basic land, so this is really good for like finding any good utility land. Obviously, it's random unless you're top deck tutoring your land, which would be weird. Put that card into your hand and the rest in the bottom of your library in a random order. This is, like when you bitch about not getting your land per turn.
This is your crappy green land decks.
Right. Well, hey, it's a little bit better than land tax. Land tax is only basics. Like I will find anything. I will
land
find
tax
anything.
is only 3 basics, and this is most of the time finding something that is basically a basic.
Better than a basic. I mean, it really depends. There are some good utility lands. I think that if you're playing a lands matter deck and you need to put lands into the battlefield, this is a good way to do it. I also think that it's just decent ramp. I mean, not even ramp. It's just getting you on curve. I do like it. Again, you want it in a list that's tapping the thin. Like, you don't want to have to be concerned about this swinging. But at least this way, you'll never really miss your land drop.
Well, speaking of decent ramp, Hedge Shredder, whenever it attacks you, mill 2. Whenever one or more land cards are put into your graveyard from your library, put them onto the battlefield tap, and cruise for 1. It's a 5/5. Think you're going to talk about this, Patrick?
Oh, yeah, I know it's listed. You can start though. Warren Soul Trader combos with a ham sandwich. Wait. Did you are you trying to suggest that there's a combo here?
That was me saying Warren Soul Trader is replaceable in Nagila for the Vitality, because you're going to be able to not have to lose life to do the whole thing. Granted, Soul Trader's still good. I think Vitality's also pretty good.
An abundance. It's an abundance effect, but only for lands.
What? Going back to the card that you brought up before, the Shredder Patrick House Cartographer. This card is quite good, not for the reasons you think. It's because I can put this in Sasaya as another draw effect.
House Cartographer.
Yeah, because Sasaya needs 2 mana things that let me draw an additional card every turn, and Cartographer does that.
Oh, I see what you're talking about. Yeah, I guess it's good for you then to keep your hand full.
Yeah.
Head Shredder.
Head Shredder. Good with like all those random mill commanders. Very good with fun dumb stuff like Gitrog, and lets you do some cool dredge things. It's a very good kind of value utility card, because even with what's his name, Tassiger. With Tassiger, you mill 2 cards, then you get something from your grave that's not a land back into your hand. Then you also get all the lands into play tapped. This is a cool card. I don't think it's going to see any play anywhere, but I think it's going to be a great card in casual.
I can kind of agree with that. 4 CMC is a bit high for us cEDH players. But I mean, in green, it's probably easy enough to hit. The next card I want to talk about is Insidious Fungus. I love cheap, easy to find removal pieces in green, and this just adds to the list. I would still say Haywire Mite's like the best of the batch. Caustic Caterpillar was a staple for a very long time. This is a little bit more costly than the Caustic, but it does have a little bit more range. So it's a green creature fungus, 1/2 body. For 2, sacrifice Insidious Fungus, choose 1. Destroy an artifact, destroy an enchantment, or draw a card, then put a land card from your hand onto the battlefield tapped. It could even be the thing your cartographer found. It's good.
Indeed.
I like it. I like
Yeah.
this like close up of just fungi on a wall.
Yeah.
That's it.
Indeed.
That's it right there. That's the fungus. It's
Well,
a good card.
it's making a frowny face, so it's insidious.
Is it making a Freddy face?
No, it's not.
Yeah, I don't. There's nothing really there. It's just mushrooms.
Hold up. Wherever it grows wood roots, or sorry, wherever it grows wood rots, walls turn gray, and flesh becomes fertilized. There you go.
Yeah, do
I
you
took
like
you
how
way
it's
too
like
long to do that.
making pseudo fleur de lis patterns? Right, is that walls turn gray? Is that what it's doing? Is that not just
Yeah.
was the wall just white and now it has a wallpaper like pattern because the insidious fungus is there?
Hey, it's insidious interior decorator
Right.
fungus to you,
Right,
Patrick.
right. It's clashing with the polka dot wallpaper spread they have opposite it right now. It's like it's just trying to be an ass by ruining your home decor.
This is also just another one drop for Nadu.
Oh
Nadu likes
shit.
utility one drops.
Bro, there's old art. What do you want to see
Yeah,
it?
there is. It's dramatic pan up shot of the fungus.
It's not even that dramatic.
I know. But Patrick, it's
Uh,
insidious. It has to be dramatic.
I sense you do not have mushroom in your heart. What? There are 2 rainbow lands that tap for colorless and require to tap a creature to produce any color. Some Magda decks run them. This set has some cards that want that tap thing.
Yeah,
Survival? Or oh,
yeah.
yeah. Okay. So Insidious Fungus, good card. I like it. Is that a fungus hand? Oh, the little green things. Those are hands. Those are hands. Insidious Fungus is comparable to Haywire Mite, but sadly not as good. No, but I'll bring up Haywire Mite. Haywire Mite says exile. That's the big thing. When it dies, you gain 2 life, but also you can't Green Sun Zenith this like you could a Caustic Caterpillar, right? So that's one
Also,
reason it's not as good in
not
green.
Haywire Mite can't hit creatures.
Right, that's also important. So you sacrifice it for a green, exile target non-creature artifact or non-creature enchantment. So it's strictly artifacts and enchantments. Uh, it's really
Haywire Mite's still
oh
probably better,
shit,
but redundancy is redundancy.
dude! It's literally reprinted in the Duskmourn Commander set. I like how Insidious Fungus is here, and they're like, "Hey, you know that better one we printed in Brothers War?"
Yeah, let's put that in the ending.
Yeah, why not? Is so that you immediately drop the Insidious Fungus. Next card I want to talk about is another room, and I think it's the last one I bring up. It is Moldering Gym. Moldering
You're
Gym.
doing what to Jim?
They're moldering it. Two
The
generic
Mulder.
for 2 generic and a green. When you unlock the store, search your library for a basic land, put that card in the battlefield, tap, then shuffle. It's just another one of those Kodama cultivate whatever cards. But the other
Yeah.
thing is manifest dread, then put 3+1/+1 counters on that creature. It's
If you
okay.
have any, if you have any way to flicker a little bit of extra ramp every turn, okay.
Depending on what you're doing, having as many basics as you can out could be a good thing. This is just another option for you to get your basics out of your deck. It's fine. I just wanted to mention it because it is another decent form of ramp. It is a little costly though for one land. I think actually the last card I want to mention is another room. I did lie. Did I lie? I did lie. It's right here. Meh. Wait. Now you can hit creature artifacts and creature enchantments, which are printed like crazy in this set. Oh, with the Insidious Fungus?
Yeah.
No, it's... Yeah, I still like Insidious Fungus. I don't think it's bad. It's also ramp, right? Like, it does a lot. It does a
I
lot.
like it only for the fact that it's another 1-mana creature you can run in Nadu.
Yeah. Yeah, there's that too. It has little fungi hands too. That's cute. Walk-in Closet. For 2 generic and a green, you may play lands from your graveyard. So this is a little bit better than the last one. It's a Ramen Up Excavator or a Crucible of Worlds, right? So yet another one. We can look at the other room as well if you
The
happen to
other room
unlock
is
it.
very good.
Right. So I mean, I honestly like just the walk-in closet for itself. Like it's just letting you use your fetch lands to the utmost.
The
And
other
then
room
fitting
is
your list.
Yawgmoth's Will. You can play things from your graveyard, but things that go into your graveyard are exiled this turn.
Um. So Yog Dog in green.
Yeah.
Didn't we get a Yog Dog in green?
Guys something.
Blessing.
Guys Will?
Guys blessing. Guys will.
Guys something. It's either Will or Blessing. I can't remember.
Okay, so Walk-in Closet is the best green card. Did green get shafted yet again or on good cards? Walk-in Closet, are
It
we
was Gaia's Will.
are we suggesting that Walk-in Closet's the best card for green this set? I mean, well,
I think Vitality is one of the better cards in my opinion.
repinting Scoot Swarm, Nadu's not leaving. Suspend. Not
Yeah, it was
bad.
the suspend one, which is Gaia's Will.
Yeah, whenever you
This
unlock
is
the store,
good just because if you care about playing lands from your graveyard like Tatiova or something, this is really good. And if you're doing Tatiova and you're doing turn stuff, you can eventually just go pay 15 to open the other room, then play 2 extra turn spells from your graveyard.
It's Crucible or Yogwill. Or both.
Oh.
Technically both. Also you're in green, so like you're also ramping to play the other effects, but you are also probably playing Gaia's Cradle, so you probably just
I also wanted to say that the rooms are very similar to like a fused adventure mechanic. You play one of them, but then you have the other one for later.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this set is good. I mean, there's definitely a reason why it's mythic rare. I think this card's gonna be pretty gas. I just want to see the alt version of it. Alt version looks good. I'm a little confused at what's in the walk-in closet. Is that like a monster that's actually in the set? The Forgotten Cellar looks good in this version, though. There's just all these casks down there. Any rate, Will, are there any green cards you want to discuss before we move on?
What? No, my only green card was that was not initially discussed was Enduring Vitality. Oh wait, no, there was one other one that I nearly forgot, and this is just a decent one. It's a Twitching Doll. This is just another dork that lets you get a good amount of mana, fix colors, and then inevitably lets you explode a crap ton of spiders in here.
You
If you
say
need some extra
Twitching Doll?
bodies,
Oh, is this the cat?
yeah, there's the cat thing. It's just a Wooburg dork that has utility to make a massive board out of nowhere. If you're doing any untapped stuff, this does let you have a good board, which is useful for stuff like Gaia's Cradle. Not the most functional card, but it's something.
Do you mean Prop Room?
Hmm?
Prop Room? Are you in Celestia and you have Prop Room? It's the room from White Will. Isn't that the one that untaps your shit?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, you're talking about the untaps during. I guess, yeah, that still does work. Seared white.
You're making me second guess myself. It is Prop
You
Room.
are correct.
I mean, like, I'm trying to go with your spider theme, okay? It's not bad. All right, guys, if there's any other green cards you want to discuss, let us know. If there's anything from the set we haven't touched on that you'd like to discuss, let us know. Will is going to cover us from here on out for our multicolor colorless artifact and or lands. And of course, if there's anything you guys want to talk about, we will cover them as well from here. But
I have
any legendaries, by the way, I'm sorry, any legendaries we're going to highlight tomorrow. So
yeah,
it's it for then.
I have 2 multicolors and 0 artifacts and lands, but we will go over 1 artifact because Oswald.
Okay.
Um, so my first card is Drag to the Roots, which is 2, a black and a green for an instant with Delirium. This spell costs 2 less. Destroy target non-land permanent.
You said black
It's
and
another Assassin's Trophy.
you said black and green?
Black-green. It's Assassin's Trophy, but no downside if you have Delirium.
I think it's on the next page. Give me 1 second. Metamorphosis Fanatic. We will definitely look at Metamorphosis Fanatic in a second. Drag to the Roots. Whoa, wow, at uncommon. Delirium's 4 or more, right? Yeah. Oh, it says it. Okay. Do you run this in? Rough, man.
It doesn't go in every deck, but it goes in some decks. If you're playing like Sultai Control, you probably run this.
Okay, I'm with you on that. I had no thoughts on it. It's SS Trophy. If you need another one, use it. If you're not already using the 2 of them, which was Abrupt Decay and SS Trophy.
Where is... Oh, somebody brought Metamorphosis Fanatic, which was the black card that you brought up, the Miracle guy.
Oh, the Miracle Man? Yeah. I'm looking for a Miracle Man.
Yeah, just better Young Necromancer. I do like that card.
Yeah.
And then my other multicolor card is Kaido, Bane of Nightmares. And the reason why is because this does fun and dumb things in Yuriko. So for those who don't know, Kaido is 2, a blue and a black for a legendary creature planeswalker. A legendary planeswalker with loyalty 4, ninjutsu for 1 blue black, and as long as during your turn, Kaido is a 3/4 ninja creature with hexproof. He will take damage and he will lose counters if he does get blocked. And then he has +1, get an emblem. Your ninjas have +1/+1. +0, surveil 2, then draw a card for each opponent who lost life this turn, which in Najila is everybody. And then -2, tap target creature and then put 2 stun counters on it. In Najila, you do very dumb things with this, because if you just want to keep upticking Kaido, you are giving your ninjas +1/+1, +2/+2, +3/+3, +4/+4. You have all of your 1/1 ninjas are now 5/5s. You win.
It's actually kind of nasty. I mean, obviously, that's probably the most abusable emblem we've ever seen.
Yeah. I think that we've only ever had one other emblem that was not on a minus, and it was on Sorin that was +0.
Dude, some of these Kaido arts are just good. You see this blacked out one?
Yeah.
The textured foil?
Yeah, I saw that one.
Ooh,
I like the alternate art of him diving a little bit more. Like
yeah, just the standard
going
art.
through like storm wave freaking ghost energy. I don't know what the heck you want to call that.
Yeah, Marta Nail. Great job. This looks really dope. Oh, good. Shit. I bought that copy of Yuriko. I really was thinking of making it for a short time. Never came to fruition. Yeah, Metamorphosis Fanatic is very good.
Now, Patrick, hear me out. Nanojin Conversion Kaido.
Oh god.
There's 2 reasons why that's really funny. Actually, I know that's just going to be a board wipe because every creature becomes a 0 loyalty Kaido and dies. Never mind.
Right, they wouldn't enter with the 4.
Yeah.
Damn.
Funny though. And that is it for all of those, but I'm bringing up one legendary creature only for the sake of Oswald, and it is Marvin, Murderous Mimic.
This is solely an artifact.
Solely artifact. So, for those who don't know,
there's a
Marvin
scheme in this set? I'm sorry, did you notice that there's a scheme?
Yes. Yeah. I think the commander decks come with scheme decks. I could be wrong about that. I know they have schemes in here.
Oh,
I don't know what it's tied to.
it's a lot of
Um,
okay.
but Marvin is a 2 mana legendary creature artifact toy with 2 power, 2 toughness, and Marvin has all activated abilities of creatures you control not named Marvin.
Marvin Murderous Mimic. I'm sorry. Wait, I'm gonna highlight it. I promise, guys. Um,
You're just sifting through all of the
no,
oh
I have probably my favorite version of the Lightning Greaves. Lightning Greaves has some really good art. I own the Corgi. I love Corgis. Those are the Greaves I play with. I love the Future Sight Greaves that just came out, but the freaking kicks. I didn't notice there were sneaker Greaves now, dude.
all the other kids with their lightning kicks. Also,
Seriously, you
I
spend
keep
most of your
forgetting to
time
say
playing.
this as well, but I a couple months ago I bumped into a musical that's apparently like a year old now called Nerdy Prudes Must Die,
Never
and
heard
it's
of it.
like it's a thriller horror musical where it's just all the usual horror things of like, oh, witchcraft a little bit here, reanimated things here, murders over here, yada yada yada. But it's just a pretty upbeat musical with really catchy songs, but it gives off very similar vibes to this entire set.
Oh, send it to me. Is it
Yeah,
viewable online? I can just
yeah,
watch it.
there's it's like a year old, so there's definitely like already pre-set up clips of it. I'll send you the
Oh,
song that everybody references for it because
nerdy prudes must die is great. Best of the trilogy. There's a trilogy.
oh, I did not even know there was a trilogy.
For
Oh no, I do know about the trilogy because there's different sections for it, but I thought it was all the same thing, but no. Okay, good to know that's a trilogy.
if there are any other artifacts you guys want me to give you Oswald knowledge on,
But for
let me
Marvin,
know. Um,
the reason why I bring up Marvin for Oswald is because you can get Marvin, which will then immediately give you another Oswald activation with any haste enabler, and then mass untappers are good. He's untappable with artifact untap effects, meaning that you can get multiple Oswalds going very quickly. Basically,
right.
Marvin is another version of Lightning, or not Lightning Greaves, Illusionist Bracers. Marvin is another
So
version of Illusionist Bracers with a little bit more tech to him, because if you get Marvin out, you can search out Metalworker and just do that as well.
right, right, right. So it's basically if this is out, it's basically saying haste for all of your creatures if it's not something sick, right? Provided those creatures are artifacts, because Oswald will be searching up artifacts. So you can have Metalworker on tap. You know, the other thing is, and I used to use in the deck, but I don't use it anymore, is Liquid Metal Torque. And you could just make Oswald an artifact and then use your, untap artifact effects like your keys and such to get the ball rolling on that. Is this better than just having a 2 CMC generic ramp piece that turns Oswald into an artifact? I mean, I like the fact that it copies all your creatures. I'm trying to think of how many creatures have activated abilities in the deck outside of Oswald and, say, Metalworker.
Yeah, I think it's just Metalworker because we don't run a lot of creatures in the Skrelv as well.
Yeah,
Not
yeah,
that relevant, but it's
yeah,
there.
yeah. Weird tempo guy.
Yeah,
Marvin's
I
interesting. I don't hate Marvin. I don't
the
hate.
only reason why I like him is just because he becomes an artifact Oswald and is also a way to give Metalworker haste. So Marvin's just another pseudo haste effect, but is also 2 Oswald activations a turn, and with any untap effect, several Oswald activations per turn. He lets you set up Oswald things pretty easily.
Right. Yeah, bearing in mind that you need a white to also tap him to do it. It's it's like having Rings of Bright Hearth out, I guess,
Can I
but
also
sooner.
point out that if you use Marvin and then get what's its name? Marvin and then get why am I blanking on the name? It's we just said it. It's the creature that makes a lot of mana.
Oh, oh, Metalworker.
Yeah, Metalworker. Holy crap.
You're good, man.
You can use Oswald to get Metalworker, which Marvin will let you tap, and then you use an untap effect with Marvin, tap, then get Staff of Domination. So Marvin acts as both your haste effect to get the whole combo set up, but also acts as a untapped target to get the combo set up. So Marvin good. I don't know if Marvin will make the cut, but I think Marvin could make the cut.
Right. I mean, you could use Marvin. The deck is so hell bent on just getting the one ring out that you're kind of ill concerned about any other thing that could come up along the way. But 2 to 3 is a good spot because it puts us very close to doing things. I do think that Liquid Metal Torque is maybe better at giving just Oswald on tap because it can only be activated at sorcery speed. But at any rate, Keys to the House is nice for the room mechanic. I haven't really looked at this card. For a generic, it is an artifact, obviously. You can pay 1, tap it, sacrifice Keys to the House, search your library for a basic land, reveal it, put it into your hand, and shuffle. It's not quite the map, for what it's called, but there's a map that does this, Expedition map.
Yeah.
It's a land, though. I think it's any land, Expedition map. For 3 generic, tap, sacrifice Keys to the House, lock or unlock a door of target room you control, activate only as a sorcery. So what's cool about this is that you can re-engage your enchantment rooms by locking them, which is kind of interesting. How many things allow you to lock a room? Is it just
Very
this?
few. There's a couple in the set, but very few.
I like it. I like it a lot. I think that you need to be very specifically working on a room deck for this one to be super viable, but it's not bad. I love the Mindstone art.
I wanted to bring up one other artifact for casual gameplay, which is Dissection Tools. And it's 5 mana for an artifact equipment that, when it enters the battlefield, you manifest dread, then attach this to that creature. The equipped creature has +2/+2 Death Touch and Lifelink, and to equip, you sacrifice a creature. It's another
Yo.
Demon Male Hauberk.
Yeah. Demon Male Hallbark's 4, though, right? So it's a little bit easier
Yeah,
to put down, but this isn't bad.
yeah. There's combos for Demon Male Hauberk. There's utility for Demon Male Hauberk. This is just another one. So neat.
Voltaic Construct is pretty insane with Marvin too. Voltaic Construct lets you untap an artifact at the end of your turn. He only copies activated though, right?
Voltaic Construct is pay to untap target artifact creature.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah.
It's the different one. You're thinking of Servant, the Godo one.
Voltaic Servant. Yeah, I like Voltaic Servant, honestly. At the beginning of your end step, untap target artifact. Voltaic Construct.
It's a
Untap
4
target
mana for
artifact?
2/2.
I mean, what does it add to Voltaic Construct though? They'll just both have it.
Well, no. You can have Marvin get all of your creatures' activated abilities, and then you can just go game.
Hold up.
It's because you can't use Voltaic Construct on creatures, only artifact creatures, and Marvin will get all of your creatures' activated abilities. So Marvin will make your Priest of Titania into an artifact creature, quote unquote.
It's kind of nasty.
Indeed.
Again, it's like I'm trying to think of the scenarios where Marvin is better than Liquid Metal Torque. Strictly, you listed a decent one earlier, but
it gives haste and it gives double tap activations, because if you have Marvin out and no untap effects, it's another Oswald next turn. Also, one thing I wanted to point out, this is several lands, but I'm putting it as one land. They did I think they did a full cycle of these.
let me look it up.
Not a full cycle, but they did a half cycle of these new lands that are type check lands. So I'll do Blazemire Verge as the example. It enters untapped, taps for a black, and then you can tap it for a red, but only if you control a swamp or mountain.
I cannot for the life of me find it. Give me 1 second. Blazemeyer Verge.
Uh, yeah, Blazemeyer. It
All
would be
one
in the
word.
colorless section, so it would probably have to be up a bit. It'd be in the multicolor section of lands because they have lands by color set up.
Oh, this is kind of sick.
Yeah,
So we have are they called fast lands?
they are
No, check
verge
lands.
lands, so they're verge lands.
Right. Well, these are verge lands, obviously. But the equivalent you're talking about is it would enter tapped unless you had a swamp or a mountain. Where this is saying this is
You
just better.
always have at least one
Right.
color, and then you
Right.
get more if you have another color.
This is
It
good.
is usually it's usually a better check land,
Well, this
but
is way better than the MDFC, the pathway lands. This is just better than pathway lands
yeah,
because you're gonna
uh,
get your duel, your shock, right?
indeed. And for these we have a Rakdos, Azorius, Demir, um, Rakdos, Azorius, Demir, Gruul. Am I missing one? Selesnya. So we have Rakdos, Azorius, Demir, Selesnya, and Gruul. They're good.
It will filter out the reprints in the set. Wow. So I was just told that I can use is first print on Scryfall search. I didn't know about that. Give us. You could have saved us so much trouble. Thanks. I'll shut up now. You guys are awesome. Stop, please. You're more than welcome to suggest combos. I love hearing them, especially when it comes to Oswald, but we don't need to humor me any further. I will probably be looking over this set, excuse me, a little bit more strictly. One for art I want to place in my decks because I like to go for the best art I can for the decks I do play in paper. But also for anything I might have missed, like a Seance board, which I will probably not use, and good suspicious bookcase art. But yeah, I like those new lands. I'm gonna call them Verge lands. I like the
They're
new
verge.
Verge lands. You said there's
Also,
three.
there's 5 so far, so
Okay,
it's
so they covered.
Azorius, Demir, Gruul, Selesnya, and Rakdos.
So tomorrow, guys, we will be covering all of the legendaries from this set, ranking them for you all, and the point of doing the legendary tier list is just to have a conversation. It's not the end all be all, but it is fun to talk about the new legendaries and or planeswalkers that can be commanders from sets that we can utilize. So if you want to join us for that, feel free to join us at 10 a.m. It's going to be a Saturday morning activity. I don't know why we chose 10 a.m. I don't know why I chose 10 a.m. But so long as you're good for that, Will, I'm good for that.
Because we need to wake up, get our coffee, check our emails, and then we can get started.
There you go. I'm excited to talk about this set though because there's a lot of legendaries from it, and I will put is first print while doing so. But if you want to join us as we rank this set and help us do so, please do. Of course, we're going to go over all the specifics of that tomorrow. I had a poll going this whole time that I'm so happy you participated in. I'm very curious as to where we ended. There was a moment where it looked like bread was the most important factor for you guys, but after this whole stream, the poll ends with the most important part of a sandwich being protein at 15%, bread 35%, sauce 14%, and 0% of you give a shit about vegetables in your sandwiches. That's so tragic. I only asked this because I realized so in case you're wondering why we're doing a double feature this week, one, because we want to play catch up with Duskmourn. I realized we didn't cover it in depth over the course of its launch, and that's fine. I don't mind absorbing a set and talking about it with you guys later. But two, I also happen to be out of town for the next week. So we're trying to cover our bases here. But as such, I haven't had a chance to get groceries, so I've been eating out a lot, and I've been getting a lot of sandwiches nearby me. And for me, I feel like the bread is the most important part. I don't know, Will, do you have any say in this?
I will say, if you get the wrong type of bread, it will ruin the sandwich. If you get the wrong type of meat, it's fine. I
Usually,
think
unless
meat
you're
is
like,
pretty important, but
right, unless you're like trying to eat halal or something. Like, unless
yeah,
you have some sort of
for
adverse.
cultural or spiritual reasons.
Right. I'll be playing at a cEDH tournament with my Jolly Balloon Man deck inspired by you guys. Unfortunately, why do you say unfortunately? What the fuck? You mean fortunately inspired by us? It's gonna be good. You're gonna win now. Wish I could do both. Wish you could do both. What do you mean? Oh, tomorrow. Oh, that's what you mean by unfortunately.
Ah,
Okay.
no, I like your first interpretation better. That's funnier.
You're the only people that decided to make.
Unfortunately, I
Yeah.
built a deck around the trash that you guys built.
Right. Jolly Balloon Man is sick as hell. Hey, break a leg with that. I really want to see what you can do with Jolly Balloon Man. I'll put it on the screen because dude, I really like this legendary. It is so fun. It's so much value. You get to do just a lot of dumb shit with it. It's what's inside that truly matters. Kind of. I'm very particular about my bread though, and bread can make or break the sandwich for me. Obviously, the age of the bread, is it stale? Are they using good bread? Assuming that they're using good bread, it's going to impart a lot of flavor. Like there's this new bagel shop near, and I consider bagel sandwiches proper sandwiches. They don't need to be like flat loaf bread. But they make this like rosemary. They make this rosemary infused bread with like chips of salt on top of it. It's so good. But that shit's like it's like permeates throughout every bite. So it's like unavoidable. So if you don't like rosemary, you won't like that bread. But I do find it impacts the sandwich a lot. I've just eaten a lot of. Forgive me, I've had too many sandwiches this week. If bread is bad, then you just don't want the sandwich anymore. That or like you just take the bread off. I'll sometimes just rip the bread off to where it is important that there's at least lettuce in the sandwich. Bad wording. Oh my god. You're good.
I think it was fantastic wording because that definitely got a laugh out of both of us.
I mean, I thought our Jolly Balloon Man build was good. I mean, for a first crack, jeez, man. Jolly Balloon Man's good. Let us know what legendary you'd like to see next on the channel because we will be brewing soon. And of course, I will leave a poll during our next stream to get a firm yay or nay on which legendary we do. But there are some cool ones from this set. I think Jolly Balloon Man was my favorite, and I'm glad we tackled it first. And I know Winter was interesting to you, so I'm also glad we tackled that one. Any parting words you want to leave our audience here, Will?
I will give my usual. If any of these cards interested you, use our TCG player affiliate link down in the description. You can support the channel, support the show, and help us keep making everything that we're doing right now. Um, if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, you can also join our Discord down in the description and ask us there, or
Yeah.
just ask in the comments section.
Yeah, just bitch about it in the comments, and I'll get to it if I want to get to it, okay?
All press is good press, as they say.
Yeah, this set was interesting, though. I think in total, there are a handful of interesting utilities to add to decks. Like, no one color got some standout card, and that's
White did.
okay.
White got several good things. We got the new universal board wipe and the new universal target removal. I think those are going to be staples.
Which target removal? Oh, the enchantment?
No, the unwanted remake. I think that's like the best
Just
removal we've had in a while.
destroy
Yeah,
a
destroy a
creature.
creature, manifest red, mess with the top of library, mess with the board,
Right.
do a thing.
Right. Yeah, it's not a choice. It's a very awkward situation for them, the manifest dread. Yeah, it's better than just saying, here's a fish. Or just generating a token like, no, you're screwing up whatever they did. I like your theory on that. Because it's instant speed, right? So it's like
Yeah.
you can fuck with their, they upkeep vampiric tutor and you're like, okay, I'll kill your Timna. And
Yeah, what's it called?
what did
There's
you put on
wind.
top of your deck? Was it a mana crypt? I'm sorry. It's usually a mana crypt. It's usually a mana crypt.
There's the Hour of Devastation or Almond Cat removal that people like, and they run only because it messes with the top of the deck. It's Winds of something or Wind something. I'm gonna look it up really quick.
There's so many
Uh,
cards with the word wins in it.
I know.
I think I know what you're talking about
Found it.
though.
It is Winds of Rebuke, and it's return
Yeah, yeah,
target
yeah, yeah,
non-land
yeah.
permanent to its owner's hand. Each player mills two. People run that specifically as removal that counters Vampiric Tutor. This is White's version of that.
Kind of better.
Yeah. I mean, I'm definitely running it in Zur because I can kill my own Zur to mill a Oracle.
Would you do that?
Yeah. I don't see why not. It sets up my combo.
At any rate,
Patrick,
guys.
if it gets there, do I have any right to complain?
No, no, you're right. You're absolutely right.
You think I won't cast something Pact of Negation my own spell, then offer you can't refuse my own Pact of Negation just to get the one extra mana?
Desperate times, right? And you go through that whole rigmarole, and they're just like counter. Just stop you there.
Then we cry.
Actually, yeah, that's when they like dispel your pact, and then you're like, oh fuck, no, no, dispel the thing tart, the offer you can't refuse, and give you the pact to deal
Yeah.
with. Yeah, that's it for this one, guys. Thanks for joining us. Do join us tomorrow at 10 a.m. to discuss those legendaries, and of course, we'll be brewing more after next week. See you on the next one. Should we
See
just
ya.
make a Marden deck?
Yeah, we just get Phyrexian Devourer, get all of the counters on him, and then just either punch people or ballista people.
He's one of the more interesting colorless commanders,
Yeah.
I'll have to
I
say.
mean, he's both interesting and uninteresting because his whole thing is like you do everything on one guy.
That your other things do, right? So
Yeah.
what was I thinking? I know Pillipala came to mind immediately, but Pillipala with like Palladium or no, Palladium's the white topping one
Palladium, you're correct. It's Palladium Mirror. That's
for
the
two
one Power
generic.
Stone Mirror. Yeah.
Okay, so you make oh shit, hey, so you make you just make infinite mana.
Yeah. You make infinite mana, then you play out whatever you have from your hand, walking ballista, then you do the thing.
Pay the two, or I get a sandwich. Pay the two. When you go. Taxes for Sammys. All right, gang. See ya.